Big Red Junkies.
Day by day, he gets better and better. See the champion me. Oh, man, woman, and child, he just turned this stadium inside out.
I'm fired up to be back on.
Absolutely. It's been way too long. We've been scheduling a couple of times, but just shit didn't work out.
It's also just the miserable part of the year. It's late May.
Well, that and Dad had to go and get retired, so, there's been like 17 things for him.
Well,
Who?
congrats, Dad.
Our dad's retiring this year.
Oh.
All of our dads. Your dad, our dad.
Your dad, our
My
dad.
dad's been
Your dad
retired
a couple years ago, dude.
Yeah, my dad retired a handful of years ago, so
Everybody's retired.
I wish I was.
No, we've had like 3 or 4 events for him. There's still another one coming up at the beginning of June. Like it's all awesome. Like it's
Mr.
really
Attention Hog, Jesus.
Yeah. It's like he spent his whole life on stage or something. It's fucking weird.
BJ's clearly not focused on it at all.
Look at me. I'm Mr. Don't have to work anymore.
Hey, I might or might not have put about 10 hours in 1 week into
Yeah, it was exciting.
some stuff.
It was exciting times. So
No, but good for him. That's awesome.
Jed, do you have a countdown for us? How many days do we have left?
99
As of
days.
today, 99. Are you not even paying attention to our social media, man? We got the countdown going on.
I'm saying it here for the people who haven't seen it. Assholes.
By the time it comes out tomorrow,
It's
it'll be
called a
98.
show.
Yes.
By the way, if you want to follow it, we're on Twitter, we're on Facebook, putting out a countdown on that. Jed's throwing out a fun stat for every day related to that number. So
Absolutely shameless plug.
So I will give full respect to my buddy Mike down in Florida. I know he's going to listen to this and be like,
Thank you, Mike.
Hey, you just said my name. But
is this Titan Mike?
no, Titan Mike lives here.
This is Looser Mike.
This is who?
It's not tight, it's loose.
Well,
Not Loser Mike.
what's a Lucy Mike?
Looser Mike.
mean-
Loosey.
I mean, this buddy Mike's probably pretty loose, but
Jesus
Christ.
his girlfriend probably would say something different. So
I have zero follow-up questions. How quickly
Sorry
can
about
we
this,
move
Mike.
on to
This ran
whatever
off
the
the
fuck
rails
you're about to
quick.
say about Mike? Jesus.
Jesus.
he's laughing his ass off right now. I can tell you that right now. But so we went on this venture of, I know you sent me a handful of different, 100 different things about
Yeah, I
Nebraska
ran
football stuff. That's
ChatGPT.
fine.
I cheated. I was like, give me stats for all these countdowns.
But I'm a psychopath.
oh, yeah.
And I love stats.
I knew you'd probably
and-
use less than a quarter of them.
So currently right now, so me and my buddy Mike, we have a spreadsheet that we update with each other of 100 days till kickoff, and we only have 36 left to fill.
Wow.
So
you started from scratch.
started from
That's awesome.
That's a lot of filling.
yeah. We started from
That's
ass,
awesome.
ass scratch. Yes, I mean it was.
Back to the ass again. Sorry. Man, Mike, you're really taking it tonight.
Sorry, loose Mike.
I mean he's loose, so he's got to take it. So whatever. But yeah, we're doing this every day. I think we have it set up to where I think the next number that we need to come up with a number on is 81. So we're set for another like 2 to 3 weeks.
So if you have good ideas, not that they're going to use them, but go ahead and send them to us.
Oh no, I would love the ideas.
BigRedJunkies@gmail.com. Throw it out. Throw it out to us on social media.
Or
We're
send
all there.
send it to me on Twitter at Big Red Junkies. Send it to us on Facebook, whatever. If you have an idea for a number, whether it's a jersey number, a year that something specific happened, a record, when something happened, whatever,
Maybe you just really like the number 81.
I'll take it. Honestly, I'm really looking for something on 80 because what Mike has prepared for 80 I don't like, but I'd like to just give him shit about it, so we'll see. But
More of a
You're
loose
just
subject.
teasing us right now, or are you going to give it to us?
well, he has something about Kenny Bell, and I'm not
we are
a
on
big Kenny
day
Bell fan,
90.
so whatever.
How do you not have a Kenny Bell fan? He has one of the greatest blindside block hits of all time.
That's about it, though.
Yeah, but what else do you need?
Okay.
It makes
I'm not
That
saying
could be the thing.
I'm not saying Kenny Bell's not going to be 80.
He also has some of the greatest hair to ever play wide receiver at the University of Nebraska.
Wonder Mons, look him up.
Okay.
Look him up. You want to talk about best hair in Husker football history? Wonder fucking Mons.
All right, so somebody go find a stat about Wonder Mons, and we'll get it in.
I mean, I know that I'm the old one of the
We'll put
group.
up a picture on Twitter.
I know I'm the old one of the group, and none of you
damn it,
guys
you
know.
are.
But I mean, if your name is Wonderful Mons, like Yes, please give me another. I don't know.
All right.
But yeah, we're doing a countdown on Twitter. We put up a picture of it on Facebook as well. Every single day, countdown to kickoff. You could also look up hashtag. We got the hashtag GBR, hashtag Huskers, hashtag countdown.
Oh, man.
Countdown to kickoff.
He really does.
What?
I found his Husker football card.
Wonder Mons?
Yeah, it's
glorious.
I mean, it's what Kenny Bell had too, though.
Yeah.
I mean, Kenny Bell and Wonder
shit.
Mons, they're the same guy.
Okay, yeah.
We'll get this up on Twitter.
No, Wonder Mons is phenomenal. But yeah, we have this going on Facebook. We put up the tweet goes out at 7 a.m. every morning on Twitter, and then
Twitter.
BJ, you create a graphic for Facebook that we post up. If you have any ideas for any numbers, even if it's a number, I mean, you wouldn't know if we have the number set up yet or not.
I'll tell you what, we got number 99 taken care of.
Yes, because we already did it.
That's what I'm saying.
Today. We have number 98 tomorrow, sneak peek, which by the time you're listening to this, you already saw it. It's Grant Wistrom. I mean, number 98, who the fuck?
Hell yeah, shout out Grant Wistrom.
I mean, you can't have anything else other than Grant Wistrom. So obviously 93 is going to be Ndamukong Suh. You know, there's key guys that are going to be the jersey numbers.
we got to be tagging these guys on Twitter when we do
Those
this.
spoilies, God.
Well, I should probably go update that and tag Grant
Probably.
Wistrom
Yeah.
because I have it scheduled for
You
tomorrow.
should definitely do that. I just got a football with him signed on it.
Okay. I will go on do that tonight and tag Grant Wistrom in it. Yes.
So
Sick, man.
we are going to do a show for you guys as well, not just plug our Facebook.
No, we're gonna plug
Hey,
our
we
shit.
haven't
but at the same
plugged our
time-
social media in a while.
Yeah,
It's
we-
been pretty slow recently.
We
I don't know if
typically
that means
don't.
nobody's listening or if nobody's just going on Twitter or Facebook.
No, we typically don't plug our shit. We just talk and
I'm just giving you guys
talk shit. Yeah. I know because you're not a part of any of it, so that's why you can give a shit
You're not
for
even
it.
on Twitter, guy.
It's hard to drink on public platforms.
Drunk Matt should be on Twitter. It should just be drunk.
No, Drunk Matt should not be on Twitter.
Drunk Matt dash Big Red Junkies.
I would follow that.
Absolutely.
Hashtag how to get fired in 10 days.
Let me tie it back to you. You could totally put up. You could totally be putting up all these different things that you like to drink on. Put your show count on there.
For sure. For sure.
Done. Yep. Speaking of drinking on, you're on a Coors tonight.
Yeah.
Jed switched it up.
I got the old
You're over on a old Jaeger barrel glass over there.
Yeah, buddy.
He's sitting here with a Kirkland water bottle filled to the brim with Jaeger, and then a pint glass.
I'm sorry.
I was like, yeah, and then a pint glass of Jaeger with a little bottle of A&W root beer sitting next to it.
It's delicious.
It's impressive.
It's delicious.
I just got some good old Crown and Diet going on. Actually, Crown and Diet Dr. Pepper. Delightful.
Crown Diet Dr. Pepper.
Crown and Diet Dr. Pepper.
Okay.
It's Diet Dr. Pepper, not Diet
delicious.
Crown. I promise.
I love Dr. Pepper. So
If you can find me some Diet Crown that still gets me drunk like this, I'm in.
Ian.
Jed, you had all kinds of stuff you wanted to talk about tonight. I know we're kind of doing a catch-all because we haven't been able to do a show in a little while.
Yep.
I mean, first of all, the last time we were doing a show, we pontificated on how many quarterbacks were going to be left because at the time I think we still had 47 in the room, at least 7. Obviously, that's changed. I mean,
Yeah, we kind of ended our last show. It was shortly after the spring game with Matt asking the question, how many scholarship quarterbacks we will have at the start of the season.
It's a great question.
It is a phenomenal question.
Great
It's
question.
one of the best questions I've ever heard in my entire life.
Especially,
it's a great one.
Great question. Great question.
It's great, man.
Answers are even better. Answers are great all around.
Well, apparently your answer was the
I'm
best
just saying.
one.
I don't want to toot my horn, but
BJ and I both were like, I think we're just going to have 4 scholarship
yeah,
quarterbacks
you
going
guys are
into the
very
year.
set on only losing a couple of guys. I'm just saying.
We did not think Casey Thompson was going to leave.
Dude, I also didn't think Casey Thompson was going to leave. I thought it was going to be the bottom 3 guys were going to drop out, go somewhere else. Casey Thompson was a shocker for me.
So, I mean, you said the bottom 3 guys. So Richard Torres, Logan Smothers, obviously, and then who was your third one? Chubba Purdy or
Purdy, because he's older. for me.
Heinrich Haarberg?
Purdy.
Well, he's not older.
Isn't he?
But-
He's a
I thought he was 1
underclassman.
year older
Yeah.
than Haarberg.
He has less years of eligibility.
It's kind of one of those COVID years. It still fucks my brain up. And
Regardless,
anyway,
Haarberg
basically the same.
In my mind, Haarberg was never going anywhere, especially as much as the coaches talked about him.
Yeah, agreed.
I think he's like, until he's told to leave, he's a Nebraska kid. I don't know that it's anything more than he wanted to play for the Huskers.
I agree.
I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't see him as a guy who had ideals in his head that he was going to be an NFL quarterback.
Not to completely sidetrack it, but it's almost like the quarterback who decommitted from Missouri and then committed to us like 4 hours later.
Immediately. And I thought that was cool as shit.
Yeah.
Because you know what? Go get your own. But we were searching for somebody else, but also good on our coaching staff for keeping that line of communication open. And obviously, that kid wanted to be a Husker. He was probably crushed when he had to announce he was going to Missouri. But you also can't change that. You can't pass up that opportunity.
I was gonna say, I don't know about crushed. You just announced that you're going to a D1 school to play football. Like,
I get that, but if all you've ever wanted to do, and by all means you're probably talented enough to do it, is play at Nebraska,
yeah,
to not get that opportunity is crazy.
As a guy that's
quick pivot,
as a guy that's never said one word to this kid and honestly barely knew what his name was.
You didn't recruit him yourself?
No. I can't imagine a situation where he didn't understand that he's in the same recruiting class as a Dylan Raiola.
A legacy who's the number one pick in the class.
Honestly, even if he's not a legacy, he's the number one pick in the class. Forget whether he's a legacy, because, I mean, he could be going to USC or Georgia or...
It's like kids playing guard now in basketball who see that Bronny's coming out.
I understand that there's a lot of ego and all those things with recruits nowadays, but if somebody tells you we're recruiting the number one player in the entire fucking country... Forget whether or not he's the number one quarterback or not. He's the number one player in the country.
For that reason, we can't take you right now.
I would hope that somebody that is a 3-star quarterback in Bellevue, Nebraska, would understand the situation. I'm not trying to say that he should be happy with the situation because he wants to be pumped up as well. I get it, but at the same time, you should probably understand the situation that you're. Again, no disrespect, but you're not going to be the priority over the number one player in the country.
Now, if he still wants to go out and be better than him, that's fine. I'm cool with that. Like,
let that motivate you. Let it motivate you.
You're going to come here and be the best quarterback in the country.
We've danced around it enough. I mean, Dylan Raiola committing to Georgia. You have said this the whole way along. You've always said it was going to be Georgia. You said from the very beginning, you told me flat out, I don't think on the show, but from the very beginning, you told me flat out, I don't think we have a shot at this guy. And that's fine. And you were right.
I don't know that I thought that we didn't have a shot. I just didn't think he was ultimately going to come here. I'm not gonna go as far as we didn't have a shot, because we did have a shot.
I mean, nationally, we were in the top 3.
With his uncle being here, with the legacy of his dad, all of those things, we had a shot.
I agree.
I just didn't think that, Matt Rule has said it countless times. We need to earn the right for these players to want to come here.
Yeah.
And at the time right now, if this is like 4 years from now, and a guy like Dylan Raiola, a legacy kid, a number one player in the country, all of those things, wants to like even remotely talk to us, then maybe. Right now, we have not earned the right for a player like Dylan Raiola to come here.
We haven't earned the right to expect it.
You're right. I'm sorry. I phrased it wrong.
I think we've made the right moves, bringing in the right head coach
Yes.
and the coaching staff and all the facility upgrades. We earned the right to talk to them. We've earned the right to expect that we'd at least get an ear, but to get visits, to get official visits, to get help bringing in other top tier talent.
Him not choosing
like
us
that,
is not disrespect.
No, not at all. Not whatsoever. And you know what?
Especially when he ended up at a 2-time national championship team.
They've lost one game in the last 35 games.
And soon to be 3-time probably.
Most likely.
I mean,
they're the new Alabama, plain and simple.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he's going to go there, and I think I heard this number tonight. He's coming into a situation where there's 3 5-stars and 2 4-star quarterbacks already on the roster.
Yeah.
And
which blows away the argument that he decommitted from Ohio State because of he didn't want to do the competition. But that's a whole other
absolutely.
I never really thought that was the
I
thing
didn't believe
anyway.
that from
that was
the
a
beginning.
fan thing, but whatever.
Well, as fans,
And if
I
he's
think we
that
all know we're
sensitive,
stupid.
if he was that sensitive about it, if he was that sensitive about them talking to another quarterback in his class, why the fuck would you want that kid on your campus anyway?
So here's the thing. In my opinion, again, this total fan thing, I totally get that, whatever else. To me, it's more about communication. If Ohio State says we're not going to recruit another quarterback, and then all of a sudden they do, then I understand decommitting. Maybe Georgia's telling him, you can come here, but by the way, we're going to recruit another quarterback.
By the way, we already took another quarterback in this class.
You can hear
A top
by the
10
way, we're
quarterback.
fucking
As
Georgia.
long as the communication is on point, I have a feeling that the Raiola family doesn't give a shit.
But I also
I think that the communication was not necessarily on point with the Ohio
I
State
agree.
situation.
I
That's
agree.
why the situation happened.
Ohio State being shady, odd.
I also think that a lot of that even speaks more to how much heads and shoulders above the rest of the class right now Georgia is, because Ohio State doesn't have 3 other 5 stars and 2 other 4 stars sitting there waiting. They have questions at quarterback for this season coming in.
I don't know about that. They have a 5-star quarterback. He just hasn't played. That's the only questions that they have, whether or not he can actually play.
I didn't think they had the stock of talent that like Georgia went to Dylan Raiola and
McCord
said,
is a 5-star
hey,
quarterback.
we really want you, but we don't need you. We'll roll out all the red carpet and do all the stuff for you that you want us to do. We'll do all that stuff. We'll make you feel special, but we don't need you. You're not going to hurt our program by not coming here.
Yeah, that's true.
If you want to come here and you want to win the job, you might win multiple national championships. You're definitely going to get drafted. You're going to fit our style of play. That's the other thing.
And you're also going to throw to 5-star wide receivers and get blocked by 5-star offensive linemen and have a 5-star running back running behind you, and you're going to look really good.
So
and you're
many
probably going to get
stars.
drafted in the first round.
And here's my other thing about it. Like, first of
that
all,
grandpa
I think
did that came out
he
of there
helped
last
us.
year.
He raised our profile. Immediately raised our profile from a recruiting standpoint. We got guys on campus that weekend that he was supposed to be here and then ended up bailing last minute. That huge recruiting weekend where I think we had 24 guys that were 4- and 5-star guys on campus. The number 1 wide receiver, the number 1 D tackle, one of the number 1 offensive linemen. Like huge guys that he helped bring those here. There's no doubt about that.
Absolutely.
There's no doubt about that. So maybe we don't get one of those number 1 at their position guys in that class, but there was a shitload of other guys that were not far behind them that were here that weekend too. And we get a couple of those to drop. We're looking at a really nice class coming in next year.
Well, and the other thing is, so you get a bunch of these big-time recruits that want to visit Nebraska, whether they ultimately do or not, irrelevant, but they talk about Nebraska, bare minimum.
We're back in the conversation.
And so say a couple of them come to Nebraska. Maybe Nebraska's not for them, and that's okay. But then they go back home, and then they tell their really good teammates who might not be Georgia, quote unquote. I know I'm throwing up air quotes just to let people know they're listening. Georgia, Alabama talent. They might be Nebraska talent. And they're like, dude, you really need to check out Nebraska. So then we get that.
I went up there. It was fucking awesome.
Then we get that second level talent.
Not all corn.
Maybe not the top level
It's
talent.
a lot of corn,
But
it's
we
not
get
all
the
corn.
second level talent.
that we haven't seen in a long time.
And then we bring those guys in and we get better and better and better and better. And then we bring in those, like, the building blocks of bringing in a guy like Dylan Raiola, and the exposure that we got from that is going to hopefully, I guess I should say, I shouldn't say definitely, pay dividends
Absolutely.
for the future.
Well, and that's all important, but let's be honest. The real important factor here is Rule and his staff getting a couple years under them, showing what they can actually do with these young guys.
That's bigger than anything.
Exactly.
Because if they fall on their face, it doesn't mean a goddamn
that's where
thing.
the earning it comes in. If he can take some of these young, like the lower star guys, and actually make them perform well, and
or
play
take a
as
couple guys that
team,
transferred in that
and
have an opportunity to
he can actually
try and salvage their
he can
career.
actually develop these players up some. That's where you're really earning your dividends. That's where you're going to start seeing more players.
It's a lot like Ndamukong Suh when he was at Nebraska and he dominated and all those things, and then he graduated, and everybody thought, well, what Bo Pelini and Carl Pelini was able to build him into, that's going to catapult us into bringing in other defensive tackles, nose tackles, all those things, defensive linemen, and that should help us because of the success that Ndamukong Suh had. that didn't.
Granted, he's a freak.
But they didn't capitalize on it.
Yeah.
The point is, they didn't capitalize
Doesn't
on
help
it.
that Carl got fired 2 seasons later.
Well, when you start doing the stuff that Carl did.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that go into that hopefully we don't see with the current staff.
I didn't say specific things, but I just said, you do the things that Carl did, he's going to get fired. But
the other side of
the point is, we didn't capitalize on having an Ndamukong Suh. We need to capitalize on having a Dylan Raiola even remotely interested in us, and then win some games. Again, with what Matt Rule said, we need to earn the right for these players to want to come here.
As coaches.
Yes.
When did we last have a high profile guy that was kind of a magnet for a class look at Nebraska, ultimately come to Nebraska and bring some dudes with him, and then we watched it all fizzle away?
I would say Marlon Lucky.
I'm thinking more recent than that. KJ Jr. Keyshawn Johnson Jr. was that sort of a dude. He was only a 3-star
Tristan
guy.
Gebbia, Keyshawn.
Yeah, he brought in a 4-star quarterback. He brought in a borderline 5-star wide receiver.
Yep.
We saw a lot of that come in, and then exactly what you guys are talking about. There was no development.
Nope.
They weren't fitting. They weren't trying to manipulate the offense to fit the talent that they brought in. Ultimately, one of them ended up, playing his whole career out in Oregon State. The other one ended up at Ohio State and then out at Oregon State. Keyshawn Johnson Jr., I think he was at Fresno State.
He went to Fresno State and then he flamed out. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, that's the last time I remember a guy who was that magnetic.
Yep.
For a class, and we didn't do shit with it.
Like a sad trombone.
We didn't do, it was terrible. And so your point is absolutely correct. How is the coaching staff going to capitalize on all this attention?
Yep.
What are you going to do? And I think, honestly, people keep talking about, I don't know if Rule's really going to be this guy who reloads every year in the portal. I don't know, how are we going to treat quarterbacks, this and that, blah, blah. I think you can do as much proof in the pudding when it comes to coaching for development with guys that are coming in the portal as you can with guys that are coming in from high school. If MJ Sherman couldn't get on the field, couldn't get anything done in Georgia, and then he comes here and he's an absolute animal beast, is it just because there were so many better guys ahead of him at Georgia, or is it because maybe this coaching style fit him differently?
Well, and I said it on our last show. MJ Sherman didn't necessarily get on the field just practice-wise, not just on the field game-wise, because there's 27 MJ Shermans at Georgia. At Nebraska, there might be 3.
Yeah, but is that the only reason? Or maybe did the coaching style not fit him, and maybe a different coach is going to be able to get something better out of him?
It could be a combination of a lot of things, but yes. I mean, But
Kirby Smart's a phenomenal coach, obviously, but his style is not going to work for everyone.
No, absolutely not.
We've all heard that pregame speech he gave before the halftime speech he gave at the national championship game. I'm not saying a lot of locker rooms don't sound like that.
I heard that was like in the middle of the season, but still,
whatever. It doesn't fucking matter.
Irrelevant.
You have a coach talking to a team that way. That's not going to happen in a lot of locker rooms. And there's going to be a lot of dudes hear that in a locker room that aren't getting their shots, that are going to use that as a reason to hate him. It's
like being a head coach is like being a parent. You cannot.
You have some favorites?
Yes, of course. And Ryan, if you're listening, you're not my favorite, but
shots fired. God damn.
Wow. I'll say that to his face. I don't give a shit. But you have to parent each kid differently. I have 4 kids. I literally had to parent each kid differently because of their personality, of who they are, the sex that they are, all those things, ages, difference. When you're a head coach, you have to coach every player differently, whether that's in high school, college, even in the pros. You have to do the same thing because there are professional head coaches where you will see these stud college athletes coming in and they'll be like, nah, you got to treat me a certain way. And these head coaches are going to be like, nah, we do things differently here. So if you want to do that, you can go do that over in the corner, but we're going to do things the professional way and you got to earn your shit and all those things. So,
yep. Especially when they have resources like that.
Yeah, you can't coach everybody the same way. And yep. I mean, whether that's coaching or parenting, it's the same situation.
But that's kind of my point. Is I think that,
and BJ, you're going to learn that very soon.
Oh
so.
yeah. I'll be working on that here coming up.
I'm just saying, the way that you're parenting Ella is not going to be the same way you're going to be able to parent your son.
No. Nope. I'm sure of that.
Because if karma's anything, your son's going to be way more of a dick.
Jesus. Well, cheers to that. The other point that I wanted to make about Dylan, on top of him raising our status as far as just getting attention, there's nothing saying he's not going to wind up here. There's nothing saying that he's going to go to Georgia and be the guy. Like I said, he's got 3 other 5 stars and another 2 4 stars that he's got to beat out. And when's the last time the number 1 guy in a class really was the number 1 guy in a class turned out? Who knows?
I couldn't tell you because I don't pay attention that
I wish him all the best. I hope he goes to Georgia, wins 3 national titles, and gets picked number 1 overall.
Fuck that. I hope he goes there, wins 1, and then there's other teams that are in the mix.
I hope Nebraska wins the other 3.
God damn it, Jesus.
I hope that 4th year.
Jesus, no. Fuck that. I don't want to
when
wait
he
4
goes to the
fucking years.
NFL,
Fuck you.
I hope the Patriots win no games that year.
Oh,
and we
there
can
it
take
is.
him. We can take him first in the draft. That'd be awesome.
Oh, just fucking right off. God damn it.
One way or the other, I want that kid back.
Anyway,
Georgia win the next 3
long
years.
sidebar.
Go sit in a
5 in a
timeout.
row. That'd be
Go sit in a
fucking crazy.
goddamn corner.
So how are we? We were all kind of surprised that Casey Thompson ultimately decided to leave.
Super surprised.
Looking back on it, though, are you that surprised?
Yes.
No, the kid's got 1 year
you're
left.
right. No, you're right.
Jed made that point to me the day that it happened. I think that was your response back to me. I go, holy fucking shit. I think I sent it to both of you guys in a text. And you're like, are you really that surprised, though? Because, I mean, he only has this year. He's not like some of the other guys out there. He has 1 more shot to play the game that he loves. He doesn't want to be riding the bench while he does that. And he still truly believes he might get an opportunity to at least go be a backup in the NFL.
I will say, in the moment, I was surprised. Looking back on it, I should not have been
because
surprised.
of the conversation around him.
Yes.
That was the part that made it surprising.
Yep.
If we actually all backed up and looked at the writing on the wall.
Like I said, in the moment,
Nope,
surprised.
I'm surprised.
But why? But seriously, why? Because, okay, no, what I'm saying is, again, I'm telling you, in the moment, I was surprised. But looking at it now, are you still surprised?
Absolutely.
Why?
Because it tells me that he wasn't confident in his own ability to play.
I disagree with that.
Dude
Totally
started
disagree.
for the team last year. It's his job to lose.
He started for the team with a completely different coaching staff with way less talent behind him.
Totally different.
And I'm making jerking off gestures. For me, I
This
was
coaching
surprised.
staff came in, they went and got their boy, who they tried to recruit before but didn't get, and then now they want this guy. They've been following this guy for 3 years. They've wanted him, and now they got him.
Jerking off gestures.
And so you're already working uphill to try and keep that job, and you're dealing with an injury. You can't show out in spring. You can't do all those things like spring ball and coming in early. They talk all the time. All kinds of coaches talk about this from all kinds of different teams about how spring ball helps develop leaders. And Jeff Sims was able to be there and be showing out in practice and doing things to help drive that leadership development and all those things. We might not have 70 new scholarship players like Colorado, but we got a shit ton. And we've got a lot of new upper end guys that
If we got 70, we'd have a lot of cutting to do.
Yeah, but I mean, we have a lot of upper end guys.
We still have cutting to do right now. But
the leadership on this team is going to look completely different starting in the Minnesota game than it looked a year ago.
That doesn't mean that he wasn't already a leader. My point is, you were a leader on this team. You already have a starting job. It's yours to lose. I'm surprised that he left. That tells me that he already knew he wasn't going to be the starter this year.
He was told he didn't have the starting job anymore. He was told he was going to have to earn it.
That's what I'm saying. I'm surprised by that.
I do not question his leadership. I do not question his position as a leader.
Last year. Last year, at the beginning of the season, I remember specifically.
No, I didn't know.
Yeah, you said there's questions about his leadership.
Oh, yeah.
He didn't get picked as a captain.
That was off the field stuff.
I know. But he showed both on the field and in press conferences, he was a true leader of that team by the end of the season.
That kind of makes my point for me.
I did make the point of, like, I've heard some stuff off the field, but I don't know how he is on the field.
Yeah.
He is clearly a leader on the field. Now, granted, through the season and the stuff that I've seen off season and the stuff that I saw like in that second scrimmage that I went to, what I was able to see of him, and even in the spring game, how involved he was, I see how much of a leader he is.
Yeah.
On the field specifically. I get it. I only questioned what I questioned at the beginning of the year last year because of the stuff that I had heard off the field stuff.
I get you.
That was just more of...
Well, and we didn't know who he was at the time.
That was kind of my point. Like, how much of the team actually trusts him? It wasn't necessarily more of a leadership thing. It was more of a trust thing. Because as a new guy coming in, how much is this team going to trust him? They can go through the whole process of off-season workouts and all those things. And hell, even coming into Nebraska, was injured just like he was this year.
Yeah.
So he wasn't necessarily working out with the team on a consistent basis. But he was brought in
to be the guy.
Yes.
And I think over time, it kind of showed that that's also what Jeff Sims was brought in to be.
Well, he's going to need to be now.
Yeah.
I mean, so how comfortable are you with this quarterback room with Casey Thompson not there?
Less comfortable.
No, I'm way less comfortable. I also do think that we have some real coaching that's probably going to go on, and that we're not going to see a Logan Smothers and Chubba Purdy and Heinrich Haarberg get
Especially
trotted out
since
there.
Logan Smothers isn't here anymore.
I mean, that'd be pretty- that'd be pretty
Maybe. I
impressive.
just heard a report the other day that he might be back.
I know. I just
That's not the QB4 that I wanted back.
But let's be real about life. Who is the most similar to Jeff Sims if Smothers comes back? It's him. If fully healthy, it's him.
Maybe Purdy.
with throwing the ball, yes, you might be right.
I'm just saying, like he has a really good shot if he comes back.
Running and throwing. That's what. That's
if he comes back, he has a really good shot at being the number 2 guy. And so the report that I heard, I think it was either yesterday or the day before, is that he's still in limbo, hasn't found a spot to land that he likes, and he is not both feet out the door at Nebraska.
I think with how much the coaching staff is in love with Heinrich Haarberg and his athletic ability, he might not be a good thrower of the football, but how much the coaching staff is in love with his athletic ability, I think he's a solid number 2.
You really think so, though? Or do you really think he's more of
do.
a package guy?
I'm saying that just because of how much the coaching staff loves Heinrich Haarberg.
Okay.
And his athletic ability.
I also really want to see us get away from package guys.
Well, no, but it's
Not
proven,
in a sexual
it's
sense,
proven,
Jed.
It's proven even in the NFL that package guys work. Look at what's his name down at fucking St. Louis, or not St. Louis,
St. Louis,
yeah,
New Orleans.
New Orleans. That's what I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
because they've been great the last few years.
You mean Taysom Hill?
Taysom Hill, yeah. I'm not saying that they have been great. I'm saying that the stuff that they use him for and the way that he can be used and utilized is fucking awesome.
I think the Wildcat has a place, but a package quarterback doesn't make any sense to me.
No, it does not. I agree.
Okay.
It's like
I don't see why you keep
It's
him
like
then.
looking at an offensive lineman
It's a
and
limited
watching
sample
him.
size.
It's like looking at an offensive lineman and watching him set his feet a certain way. You know where he's going.
Yeah, but
you
when they
know
put
where the
Taysom
offense is
Hill
going
on-
when that quarterback's in the game.
You might or you might not.
You are
A
limiting
good
yourself.
coach disguises that. And
except
at the
for-
same time, when you put Taysom
You
Hill
can
on
disguise it for 3 plays, but then the 4th play, it doesn't mean
we're
anything.
talking about 3 or 4 plays a game, guys.
No. He's a package quarterback because he can only do certain things. So if
Exactly.
he's in the game, the offense can only do certain things.
That's my point.
Yeah, you're literally telling the defense we can only do.
I'm saying you don't
a
bring him
third
in
of
at
our playbook.
quarterback. Just like Taysom Hill comes in at tight end a lot. To start the season last year, he actually was only qualified in fantasy as a tight end. He wasn't qualified as a quarterback until like week 12.
Show me a college team that does that kind of
It's
shit.
like the last year of Bill Callahan. He had 2 receivers that he would come in, and you knew immediately it was a passing play. He had 2 other receivers that would come in. You knew immediately it was a running play.
For us young folks, how did this work out?
It worked. Again, I said it was the last year of Bill Callahan. So that should tell you how it worked
Get
out.
the fuck away from a certain package type deal.
I just
fuck off.
remember
have a
being-
guy and let it be your guy.
I remember being at the Nebraska-Pittsburgh game where Zach Potter blocked 2 field goals to win the game against Pittsburgh in Lincoln. And me and my brother-in-law, Jason, and one of his buddies were sitting on basically the 50-yard line watching that game. And I knew the situation of these two certain wide receivers come in, it's a running play. These two other wide receivers come in, it's going to be a pass play. And I called it out 78% of the time. And these people sitting around me are like, how the fuck did... I literally would be like, it's going to be a pass. It's going to be a run.
Well, most people don't actually pay attention to the players coming in on and off the field.
But the people...
The defensive coordinator on the other team does.
Absolutely.
For sure.
If I, as a dumb fuck fan, knows this, you know damn sure that the opposing defensive coordinator knows this.
Yeah.
And I'm calling this stuff out, and these people around me are like, how the fuck did you know that? I'm like, just watch the fucking game. Like, at me as a Joe fan can spot this stuff. If I spot this stuff, you know damn well the defensive coordinator on the other team spots this stuff. So, cool. Package, quarterback, all of those things. So if you bring in that quarterback, they know we're going to run. Like, I understand that package players play a certain role, but it can't be your staple.
No, I didn't say it was going to be our staple.
It can't be a constant.
We were talking about if he's a number 2 guy or if he is more of a number 3 that's a package guy that actually gets on the field occasionally.
I just think
that's all I was saying.
I think Heinrich Haarberg is a solid number 2 that what we have.
He's going to have to throw the ball better than he did in the spring game.
Based on the coach's response to him as a player.
Also agree, if he can't throw the ball any better than he did in the spring game, he's not a quarterback. He's a running back.
That's why I said you can put him in as a package tight end.
Or maybe the all-coveted fullback position.
That's a coveted position
We have
now,
a fullback
I guess.
now, though.
That's what I'm saying.
That's one of the guys that came in.
We have like 17 fullbacks, apparently.
What other major additions other than that offensive lineman that's transferred to us?
From Utah, yeah. I mean,
what other major additions have happened since the last show we made?
No.
I don't think any.
Nothing major, no. All the other additions have been walk-on guys.
Gave some scholarships to some walk-on guys.
Two walk-on guys that have been on the team. I'm talking about additions have only been either walk-ons or the kid from Utah, the 6'7", 300-pound offensive tackle.
Which, from the sounds of it, they're not anticipating he plays that much this year.
He's a future guy. He's not a today guy, no.
Is he,
I like that, though.
Was he coming in as? Is he a true freshman?
Redshirt.
He'll be a redshirt freshman this next year.
Obviously, I guess he played a year at Utah.
Well, he redshirted last year, so
I got you.
he didn't actually play. Not even the 4 games or anything else like that. He never really got on the field. So
sounds like he's a behemoth, though.
He's got good size. He's gonna have to put some weight on.
No, he doesn't have to put weight on.
I guess if we're going for smaller offensive linemen, I guess that's true.
He's 6'7", 300. That's not
300
small.
pounds is 300 pounds, depending on. No, it doesn't matter where you're hitting him at.
All right.
So how do you feel about the running back room now that A.J. Allen's gone?
I still like it.
Okay.
Is he an extra weapon that we're going to miss? Absolutely. Do I think that he had RB1 stuff? Absolutely. But I think we have other guys that have RB1 stuff. I loved Anthony Grant last year. I loved the way he moved. I loved the way he danced. He doesn't have breakaway speed, but you don't need it when you move the way he does.
I hope he can finish the season better than he did last year.
Absolutely.
That's just a question mark that we don't know.
A lot of that's going to fall on the offensive line. I don't think it matters who we put back there if the offensive line isn't at least 30% better than it was. None of them are going to finish the season.
Yeah. I mean, I felt marginally worse, but at the end of the day, that room was saturated.
It was very stacked. Yes, it was.
It was wet. It was so saturated. So
And you can't say that we're losing a lack of talent because he went to fucking Miami. Like, he didn't go to a slough school.
Yeah, no.
A lot of the guys we've lost have wound up in crummy places. Even Casey Thompson. Like, whatever. FAU is not going to be bad next year, but they're not great.
they're going to be FAU.
They'll be a bowl game. They'll be a bowl team.
He'll put up a shit ton of numbers in that offense that he knows, by the way, with Tom Herman.
Wasn't that his coach at Texas that recruited him? Yeah.
Yes.
So see, that was the other thing about Casey Thompson leaving was like, that was a no-brainer move for me.
Yep.
Hey, I'm holding the keys. Do you want them? Because right now you're still fighting for them. And you don't even get the chance to fight for them until probably fall halfway through fall practice.
Yeah. Shocked. You were shocked at what?
I was so shocked that he left.
That Casey Thompson left?
Yes.
But, I mean, Again, so you said that there were going to be 3 scholarship quarterbacks. How are you so shocked?
I just want to be shocked, Jed. God damn
He's
it.
just fucking shocked.
Okay, whatever. I don't know what to tell you.
Now that Jed has poured himself a whiskey glass now full of Jaeger to go
It's
along
not
with
full. Get the fuck out of
Bro,
here.
Jed,
that
that's
is more
fucking full.
If you go order,
That's 4 fingers.
if you go order,
That's what she said.
Like you go order an old fashioned right now, it looks like that.
I'm taking a picture of this. I'll post it. That's not full.
That's a goddamn full glass
it's
of
not
Jaeger.
the top.
It's no, that's Jesus Christ.
Hold on. I'm taking this picture.
When Matt said 4 fingers, he was spot on. He's got fat fingers.
Shit, he actually is. Hold on, let me get your fingers in there.
This is great.
Oh, let me get your fingers in there, Matt.
And you're in Jed's defense. That is not a neat 4 fingers.
There
that
is ice, like-
that is a 4 fingers on the rocks. But still,
Ain't no rock sticking up over the top.
Jed's
of
like,
that.
let's do a shot. This isn't cold enough, so let's put some ice on it.
It's not because it's been sitting out, so I need to have ice on it.
Jesus Christ.
So here, Matt, you do your pussy 2-finger shot. I'll do my 4-finger
I'll
shot.
do my regular pussy shot. You do
I feel
the
like somehow this
pussy
ties back
shot.
to Mike being loose.
Mikey Mike.
Mikey Mike, are you a 2 or a 4 finger guy?
Oh, he's 4 fingers. I'll tell you that right now. I won't tell you from
Jesus.
experience, but whatever.
We don't count him in
Is this
fingers.
just something else you heard from his girlfriend?
We don't count him in fingers.
God damn, it's taken him this whole time to drink this.
Seriously.
Yeah, it was a normal shot. No big
We
deal.
just pound this glass of Jaeger.
God damn.
Yeah, maybe that was 2 shots, but okay.
Speaking of fingers, how many am I holding up?
7 on one hand.
So it feels weird to be watching hockey, but it makes me think about, like, I don't know why, but Colorado or Canada. And you just so happen to have secured your Colorado tickets today,
God,
Jed.
what a segue.
I did. They had their single game tickets go on sale today. And you know, I kind of tried to keep it quiet. I know people knew about it and stuff like that, but I didn't want to like publish it because I was like, no, I don't want you to get in line because I want to make sure to get my tickets because so it's going to be me, one of my cousins and his girlfriend who live in Chicago. And he's a graduate of Nebraska and he has season tickets at Nebraska. And back in the day in 2018, when we played at Colorado, he lived in Colorado at the time. So we were able to get tickets to that game, but now he lives in Chicago. And so we're going to the game. And we've been looking at tickets this whole time previous to the single game tickets going on sale, and like literally the cheapest tickets we've been able to find, and that's like barely getting inside the stadium are like $500.
Oh, yeah.
And that's before all the ticket fees and all that bullshit. So I was like, okay, I'm going to wait for the single game tickets to go on sale on the Colorado Buffalo site. And I had signed up on the Colorado Buffalo site for updates. And about 2 to 3 weeks ago, I got a text message saying single game tickets for this season is going to go on sale on whatever today's date is, the 24th at 10 a.m. Mountain Time. I was like, okay, cool. So 11 o'clock our time. I'm going to get on my phone while I'm working and just sit in the queue or whatever. And about 10:15-ish this morning, I got in on the queue and I was waiting. And I had started to hear situations of like face value tickets. The cheapest ticket is like $300-something.
Jesus.
And I'm like, are you fucking kidding?
I heard they
time,
jacked
baby.
him way up.
Prime time.
Well, that's the
Yeah,
thing.
they got to pay primetime salary.
They don't have the money for primetime salary.
Everybody going to the game's going to pay the salary.
So they need the money somewhere.
I also heard that there was like server issues for people that were in Nebraska having a hard time getting on to actually get tickets.
That's probably just because
having
we're all
having
on
to
the
call
same
family
server.
members like but having to call family members like in Chicago and other places to actually get tickets.
Yeah, on different
because they were
servers.
basically blocking Nebraska fans from buying tickets.
No,
It's,
Nebraska
it's almost
fans
as
were
if you know what
blocking-
I'm going to get to.
Nebraska fans were blocking Nebraska fans when there's that many of you trying to get tickets
All right,
at the same
IT guy.
time. I'm just saying that's how
Yeah.
servers work.
No.
Sorry.
No,
continue.
actually tell us, explain it, because a lot of people were bitching about it today.
Please do. No, okay, hold on. Before you
tell
do
the story, then explain it.
No, I'm not going to tell the whole story. I'm asking a question.
Okay.
You're the IT guy, Matt. You are.
I'm not the IT guy. I
You
don't
are
work in IT anymore.
You work
but
for fucking Google, motherfucker.
You're literally the IT guy of the entire planet. So okay,
Yeah, the whole planet.
definitely the IT guy of this goddamn show.
You got IT problems, you call him.
Okay.
Now, I'm not going to sit here and I'll tell my story, but I'm not going to sit here and say that I was the only one, because I know that there are people in the city of Omaha and in the state of Nebraska that were able to get tickets. But I kind of feel like I got locked out. So did they start to only pick
They just
pick
remembered
and
you
choose?
from that suit that you wore to their stadium 2 years ago.
Fuck this guy.
At some point, were they able to figure out certain people to block? I don't know. Again, you're the IT guy, so you tell me.
Could they do that? Sure. Did they do that? Most likely not. So
Okay.
How servers work is you ping off of the server that's closest to you physically. So if everybody in the same general area is trying to do something, it's like before Nebraska put in Wi-Fi at the stadium, it's like trying to get cell reception out. There's too many people in the area. You can't do it.
That's actually a really good analogy.
It is.
Good work.
So
That's why he's the IT guy.
if everybody
Exactly.
in Nebraska
Fuck.
is trying to get tickets at the same time at 10:15 on the day they come out, they're all going through the same place. And so it's like, imagine you got a single door and you got 100 people trying to come through it. It's just not going to happen that fast.
Yeah.
Whereas
So you're saying it's like
the people in
the
Chicago
OPPD.
have a different door. The people in Miami have a different door to go through. So that's all it is.
It's like MUD sending out that stuff last week about, even numbered houses, water on
Yeah. Kind
certain
of,
days.
not really. So it has
Hey,
it has
if your
nothing to do
name
with you
starts
watering
with
your
any of these letters, you wait for 20 minutes to jump on.
Or
Yeah.
not at all. But
So
okay.
that's what it is. I almost guarantee you they were not blocking specific people from getting in there. There's no rhyme or reason to it. It's just you did or didn't get through the door.
Okay, so the only reason why I asked that question is because I get through the queue.
Okay.
It's like 11:20ish our time, and I get through. They're like, "Hey, you want to get tickets? Cool." And you got 5 minutes basically. And so I picked it's me, my cousin, and his girlfriend are going to the game. So I need 3 tickets, and the cheapest level at the time is $315 face value. It's like, are you fucking
Where
kidding?
was that in the stadium?
Barely in the stadium.
You're just like squeaking in.
Yeah. You're like...
It's a tiny ass stadium. It's like Minnesota. So when you're in the stadium, you're in the stadium.
Yeah, I've never been, but I heard it's like an old
It's
shitty
a
stadium,
roughly
too.
50-ish thousand seat stadium.
It's
like a-
basically
it's like
the
a high
exact
school
same.
stadium.
It's basically the exact same as Minnesota, because Minnesota, I think, seats like
Yeah.
52.5.
Something like that, yeah.
Which it's a very intimate stadium. I get it.
So, I mean, honestly...
Not really a bad seat.
Honestly, even the quote-unquote bad seats are not terrible seats. So, that's not what I'm trying to say. Now, granted, that's a shithole of a stadium, but that's a whole nother conversation.
The best seats still in a shithole stadium.
But the fact
Looks
that...
like the Romans used to play there.
The fact that face value
Killed lions
through
and
the university's website is $315 is a fucking joke. But again, they have to make the money up somehow to be able to
It's
pay
a prime embarrassment.
It is. It is.
Can I interject for just a
ahead. I
hot
had that
second?
joke
Because I
ready and
actually
primed.
it was good. I actually have a thought on this. Because Nebraska, we talk about every ticket's the same price. It's been that way for a long ass time.
Just really
right.
quick.
But when I was going in to get season tickets this year, looking at the difference in price, basically, some of them didn't make that much sense to me. The donation that you had to throw behind it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of variation there. There's a lot of them that's like, I don't even want to sit in these seats. Why would you expect me to pay that much when these seats over here I feel like are better and I only have to pay this much? It's a weird thing. I think it's super similar, but at the same time, when you're looking at buying an individual game ticket like that,
That's the difference. You're talking donation price. Where you're sitting, the donation is going to be different. As far as for season tickets.
yeah, okay, we can
that's the
try
way
and
it is.
shade it however we want to. Ultimately, you're paying more for a ticket in a certain place.
I get it,
because
but-
most of those people that are buying season tickets don't give a shit about quote unquote donating to the athletic program that's churning out millions of dollars. They care about actually getting good seats.
You're right.
And so I don't think it's that much different, but at the same time, if you're going to treat your football program like professional football, which is exactly what Deion Sanders is doing, devil's advocate here, why can't you play the game of, well, the 2-14 Raiders are coming to town and they're fucking terrible and nobody wants to come here and none of their fans are in this region. And so tickets are going to be $27 a piece, as opposed to the Kansas City Chiefs, reigning world champions that are 13-0 coming in here and we're 12-1. Those tickets are going to be more expensive.
Yep.
I'm not saying that the record and all those things matter, but Nebraska fans travel. They know that they're going to jack up prices because they're treating their football program like a business, which is exactly what their head football coach is treating their football program like, which is what ultimately, I mean, we're going to get to this in a little bit, but that's what our new landscape in college football is. It is becoming minor league professional football.
Well, let's be honest. It's always been a business. We're just actually calling it a business.
Yeah,
now.
The curtain's been pulled back.
Truth.
Yeah.
The curtain's been pulled back. We pulled down the shorts. We know what we're working with
It's
now.
more like a robe, if you know what I'm saying.
It's not like the NIL. Now it's legal. Yes.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. We want to get
It's
to
been
that
a
stuff here in
business
a
for
little
long
bit.
time. So real quick, did you get tickets?
I did.
Yeah, I wanted Jed to go back to his story,
Yeah,
but
go.
I wanted to interject and talk about that because
That's fine. You're good.
as much as I don't like the fact that they jacked it up and they're trying to, pay for Deion's salary with Nebraska fans, I still think that stadium's going to be half red that day. And because here's the other thing, don't kid yourself. There's a shit ton of Nebraska fans in Colorado.
Here's the big thing about the ticket price stuff. Nebraska does this. Tickets for Northern Illinois are different than tickets for Iowa.
Oh, guaranteed. Guaranteed.
They're
Yeah,
different.
we don't ever go over our max face value of $56.
No, we'll go. No, we will definitely go over that.
They're higher.
But they
now,
might
too.
go to like 150, 160. They're not going to go to.
I didn't think the university ever went over the face value of the ticket.
Yeah.
I thought that was always Ticketmaster secondary market stuff.
No, like when
I'm learning something new today because I thought they went with face value printed on ticket for every single ticket.
Oh, you're a Nebraska resident. There's a difference.
No. So when like Ohio State comes here, Michigan comes here, Oklahoma comes here, Iowa comes here, like the big games. When Tennessee comes back here, when Colorado comes here,
Is Tennessee on our schedule soon?
well, in a couple of years we have Tennessee at Tennessee, and the Tennessee.
Fuck, that's gonna be awesome. God, I hope we're good by then.
I was gonna say, I sure hope it's gonna be
I will
awesome.
say this. Are you ready to go to Tennessee? Let's do this.
That would be fucking awesome. I am in.
I'm going to the Tennessee game.
When is it?
I want to say 2027.
Put me down.
Xander will be old enough to stay with Grandma and Grandpa for the weekend. Ella and Xander can go to Grandma and Grandpa's.
Hell
Me
yes.
and Tab are in 100%. We're fucking going.
I'm just saying. But
You
anyway,
act like you're not gonna have another kid by then.
We're podcasting from Chattanooga.
you're not wrong, by the way.
Yeah, but 27, there'll at least be 2. We're good. As long as she has a 3-month window. Outside of that, we're good.
You act like you're not gonna have 18 kids by then. Like,
Fuck off. I'm stopping at 3.
I'm just glad I have my kids younger so I can do all my things as I'm older. But anyway,
Yeah, well, just remember, I'm still younger compared to
yeah, you old fuck.
older.
I know. But the
You
point,
kind of said that like I was like, oh, look at this dumbass having kids now. Like, no, hey, we're not in the same boat, bro.
all of my kids were born by the time your age. But anyway,
I'm at Aiken Creek like I'm your age, but I'm not there yet.
His youngest is gonna graduate in what? 3 years?
2 years.
2 years? Yeah. See. All right.
No, Nebraska does this all the time. In the big games, they
If I could have
jack
had my
the
kids
prices
when I
up.
was 10, I'm just saying.
And
Are you going to reference the fact that his oldest is only 3 years younger than you?
gonna do.
Sorry, Jed, back to your story. You didn't quite let us finish that interjection.
I promise I'll quit interrupting you.
I don't care.
So anyway, I was.
I don't even know what the fuck I was saying.
You got tickets.
Yes.
Nebraska jacks up ticket prices too.
Yeah, no, Nebraska does this too, but literally when they jack up their ticket prices for the quote unquote big games, it's like $160, $150, $180. That's like where they are at. Colorado, for this Nebraska game, the cheapest ticket was $315.
Jesus Christ.
On their website, not a secondary market, StubHub, SeatGeek, Vivid Seats, whatever else.
That's not even There's no NFL games that have their cheap. Like that's like an AFC Championship game.
It's a lot of fucking money.
That's like borderline Super Bowl tickets.
So by the time that I got through the queue,
That was a prime example.
the $315 tickets were
Fuck off.
Exactly. The $350 tickets were gone. So the second level was $405. They literally had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They had 8 different levels here, by the way.
So you're not even getting that much closer to the game.
I'm sorry, they had 7 different levels.
Still.
Well, I mean, in their defense, they have 35 or 38,000 less seats than Nebraska.
Yeah.
So
I don't care though. Like
they have to make it up somewhere.
no, they have to have less levels. Jesus.
No, I get that. So it's just levels of tickets. It's not like they have different levels of seating.
So you're just paying more for no reason?
The $315 was quote unquote zone 5. Zone 4 was $405. Those were gone by the time my name got called up in the queue. The zone 3 was $460. That's where I got in. And I was like,
it comes with a reach around on the field?
I wish.
Jesus.
Even if it wasn't on the field, I'll take it in the stands.
Prime
Just
actually
give me that
pops it
reach
in his
around.
mouth for a
Like,
second as he runs past.
Challenge
I
accepted.
don't know if I want to be a part of
You're
that.
going to tickle his lack of a toe.
Or toes. Because there's not just
Oh,
one.
I thought he only lost one.
No, he lost more than one.
Oh, shit. Not that I'm making fun of his health problems, but
Dirty dogs.
I'm just making jokes about their ticket prices.
So I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, I'm going to get these tickets at
So much for a
$460
shoe-in.
and get out of there. I put in my credit card information and it doesn't accept it. I have enough room on my credit card. That's good. So I put in my other credit card. I have enough room. It doesn't work. So I have 5 minutes, and then it kicks me out, and it kicked me out, and I
So
got
it's
back
just
in.
timing out on you.
Yeah, no, and so then I got back in, and again, $460, and I put in my other credit card. I literally went through 3 cards, and it wouldn't work. So
It's not a card issue.
So to me, they're kicking me out because it's my address. I mean, am I wrong, Matt? Or
Probably just your name.
That's
They knew-
still
they
not
knew it
how
was
this
you.
works. But
I'm just saying, like, I had plenty of room on all 3 of the cards that I wanted to use.
So what actually ended up happening?
So during this time frame, I'm texting my cousin who lives in Chicago, who's going to the game with me. I'm like, hey, I'm sorry. I thought I had these tickets, but it's not going through. I got room on my card. That's not the issue. All those things. He's like, well, I'm in the queue now, so he's waiting. He's not in the process of being able
Can
to
you
buy.
log in on yours?
No, he just had his own thing. That's fine. I said, well, honestly, I need to go back to work. I've wasted enough time on company dime. And I got to go back to work. I hope that
By the way, if you're listening, he's already given you so much. Don't fuck with him on this.
yes. We're not even,
I will file complaints.
the people that know where I work, but we don't need to say it. So whatever. And
Don't go postal or anything like that.
so I just told my cousin, I said, hey, I hope you get in. I hope you get the tickets. I'm good with either the 460 and then even the next level was 550. I said, I'm good.
Well, shit, you're already in 460. What the fuck is the
why the fuck
difference?
not? I said, I'm good with either price.
Talking about pennies here.
And so a couple minutes later, he texts me. He goes, I'm in. I got tickets. I got 3 tickets. They're $460 a piece. And the thing is, weirdly enough, service fees was only $15 a ticket. So I was like,
I think that actually has to do with the new laws that came out with service fees and all that stuff that all those bands have been going and talking in front of the courts about. There's a limit on that stuff now. Because it used to be a percentage.
but I mean, so honestly, I paid, I mean, I have no problem saying it because it's whatever. I paid $467 or
Proudly. Wear it like a badge, man.
$475 for tickets to the game.
Dion fucks you in the ass. Wear it like a badge.
And I mean, the fact that I would have paid $100 to $150 more in the secondary market if I would have needed to buy tickets that way, because service fees and all that shit are $50 to $60
Absolutely.
per ticket.
Absolutely.
And again, it was a minimum $500, and that's the last seat in the stadium. So honestly, I'm good. with where we ended up sitting, I honestly don't know where we are sitting because I don't really give a fuck.
Honestly, with spending that kind of money, though, honestly, like thinking about this, spending that kind of money to get the one game, I feel like you could have easily gone on and probably spent $600 to $800 and bought season tickets back when they were doing season tickets for Colorado.
Yeah.
And sold the rest of the fucking games and probably paid less for that seat.
So here's the thing. So I'm on the site right now, and if I want to buy USC tickets, which is like a couple of weeks after the Nebraska game at Colorado,
They'll be a top 5 team in the country.
the minimum ticket price right now is $225 for the USC tickets.
Christ.
So again,
Cheaper than Nebraska. I mean, granted, it is Colorado, Nebraska. It's not Colorado,
USC doesn't give a
USC.
fuck.
Yeah.
But the thing is, they're just jacking up the price like crazy because they need to pay for Dion. That's just the way it is. And hell, even the Colorado State tickets the week after Nebraska game. I'm looking at this right now. Let me pull up the ticket price. The cheapest ticket for Colorado State, Colorado. Granted, that's a rivalry game. But at the same time, the cheapest ticket is $175 fucking dollars. Right now, Nebraska has a deal going on where you could get a ticket for the Northern Illinois, Louisiana Tech, and one other Big Ten game for $100 total.
Jesus Christ.
That's 3 games for $100. Colorado has the one game against Colorado State, minimum $175.
They're trying to pay for Prime.
Absolutely.
And guess
That's
what
all it is.
Guess what's going to happen? Because if you look at their schedule, they come out, and I think in their first
And
4...
Colorado's going to go into that Colorado State game 0-2, motherfuckers.
They come out, they have to... They open at TCU. Then they come home to play Nebraska.
And get their ass kicked.
And then don't they play like Washington the week after that
No,
or
it's
something?
Colorado State.
Colorado State.
That's what I'm trying to
week
say.
3, and then
they're going to go into that Colorado State game 0-2, and the cheapest ticket is $175 right now.
They're scheduled the way that I look at it, like, and if you look at any of the power indexes and all the stuff, it's still calculating. Obviously, it can still change because rosters aren't set yet. But you look at all that stuff, and they're only projected to win like 3 games next year.
I think their Vegas over/under is 3.5.
You get halfway through that season and you only have 1 or 2 wins in the win column, you ain't getting those fucking ticket prices.
After the Colorado State game, it's Oregon and USC. Maybe not net order, but it's those two.
So
teams.
they're 1-4 probably.
If they're lucky.
If they're lucky. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. And the thing is, there are people in Denver and in Boulder, like media guys, that think that the minimum, the floor, they think that the floor is 7 wins.
Wow.
It's like,
who's on the rest of their schedule after their first 5?
well, they better win out. They better win out, and they're not going to.
They still got to go play Oregon State in Washington, I would assume.
I mean,
Oregon State and Washington are both going to be good next year.
Arizona's going to be really good. Like, no, they ain't. Get the fuck out of here.
That's wild.
You want to say your floor is... If your over-under at Vegas has 3.5 wins, and you're going to think that the floor is 7, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
You're just... No. Not even close. I don't even know what else to tell you.
I got to give a little shout out to our fellow Herd at Media guys over at the Go Big RedCast.
Okay.
They actually did a really good show about hating talking about the floors and the ceilings, especially this early. And it actually, like a lot of their sentiment...
I can respect that, but go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, a lot of their sentiment actually reminded me a lot of what you talk about. And a lot of it, this like, what the fuck? Why, if you know so well that's our record, or if you can fit in this 2-game window, that's our record. Why do we play the games? Why do we do that stuff?
You're right.
I thought it's really interesting. You should go give it a listen. Those guys are good. They do a shit ton of stuff. They do a lot of cool fan shows. This is one of theirs, Matt's Rule shows. There's 2 guys named Matt that do. I think there's like 7 guys that do that show. But
Sounds like a good show.
and it's a good show. But they
No disrespect, our show's better.
they specifically
It also has Matt's in it. It's fine.
they specifically talked about, like, that was their whole premise, is talking about how, they hate it when people get on Twitter and, oh, your floor is, or, they said when they DM them, oh, the floor is 4, the ceiling is 10, or, and they're arguing this and that. And it's like, first of all, regardless of what the analytics say, and they had somebody, I think, in the comments or something on this show that, like, that's what she does, is like, she's like a data analyst for sports. And so, like, she's very much in the know about, like, FBI and shit like that. And that's all cool. But at the same time, they make the great point, like, what did everybody set as the ceiling for TCU last year?
True.
Anything could happen. There's nothing sitting here saying that Nebraska can't beat TCU from last year.
Okay.
It makes you grimace. I just saw the look on your face.
You're right.
That sounds ridiculous. No. And I agree, it sounds ridiculous. But at the same time, there's a reason we still have to play the games.
Because TCU from last year was ridiculous.
I also grimaced on the fact that...
Wasn't it awesome?
I also grimaced on the fact of TCU being the norm. TCU, what they were able to do.
No one said it was the norm. They were just saying,
statistical
like,
outlier.
But that's why I grimaced, was because, cool, I understand what you're trying to say. Like, who says Nebraska can't be that? I grimaced because
who says Nebraska's not going to lose every game?
But just because TCU was the statistical outlier doesn't automatically mean Nebraska could be that TCU this next year. Like, cool, you're right.
Yeah,
what TCU was able to
there's
do.
About 60 teams who could be TCU.
It doesn't mean that it happens every year. Like, TCU was an anomaly. And it's great. I hope to God Nebraska is that this year.
But that, to your point,
to
BJ,
expect it is not
an expectation, but that is why we play the games.
Absolutely. Yes.
That was the only reason. They weren't trying to say that Nebraska could be that.
Yeah. No.
They were simply saying, using it as an example of, this is why putting a ceiling or a floor on anything sounds dumb. Because it can easily be shattered. Yeah, we don't know. When you look at,
I get it, but those are also just projections.
No, but I think one of the other points that they made, they were asking, how much does coaching make a difference? And they looked at our record last year. They looked at the games that we were in down to the last couple minutes and the leads that we had in the fourth quarter. We had a fourth quarter lead in 8 games last year.
We were close in all the games in 2021. What did that do?
No, but listen, when you look at those games we were close in and you look at good coaching versus bad coaching, how much does coaching affect it? How much does coaching affect calling a fucking onside kick up 11 in the third quarter? Like, those types of things, you extract the bad coaching out of that, and you input what we assume is going to be good coaching. Maybe we are an 8-win team from last year,
also
and
one
we've done
play
nothing
out
but
of
improve.
75,000 plays.
No, I get it. You can play devil's advocate. You can push back on it. But if you extract the bad coaching, you input good coaching, we could potentially be an 8-win team last year.
I want to take a step back and completely argue with everything that they were talking about. That's all off-season sports commentating is talking about the floors and the ceilings.
That's the funniest thing is they made that comment. They're like, but we're also content creators and we have to have something to talk about.
That's kind of my point of it.
Fuck right up. Even during the season,
respectfully, I will just be like exactly what you just said, Matt.
We're not on the field with the players. We're not playing the games ourselves. All we're here to do is sit and talk about the sport. So
that's why I said floors and ceilings are just projections.
Yeah, if you can't sit and talk about what you think will and won't happen, the fuck are we going to talk about?
No, I agree with
why
you.
are we doing a show?
How are we supposed to act like we sound smart?
I mean, I get it. Trim is the man.
Wait, are you acting that way? Because I'm not.
Well, I'm definitely not actually smart.
So
that all being said, the funny thing is, I think we're like, I don't even know how far we are into the show, at least an hour.
Well over an hour.
It has to be. The whole point of getting together tonight, we wanted to talk NIL and future landscape of college football.
Or just the Big Ten, too.
Well,
yeah.
Big Ten, but also college football in general. There was a great article that came out recently in the Omaha World Herald that is getting a lot of national attention, talking about the 2-conference college football scene.
Yep.
And You've got thoughts. That was the main reason you wanted to get together tonight, was talk about this stuff. And now that we're what'd you say? Hour 15?
Well over an hour, yes.
Yeah, an hour.
Who cares?
Yeah, we're an hour 10, hour 15 into this. Now we're finally getting there. I was asking for a timestamp, man.
No, we're good.
Look at the timestamp when you listen.
The weird thing is, like, as news continues to come out, it's further and further telling everybody, not just me, that it's literally, yeah, I heard that too. It's literally a 2-team or 2-conference sports facility, and maybe a third. And then of the Power 5, 2 of those conferences are going away. Like within the next, ACC will last another handful of years. I would say rough estimate 2033-ish. It's going to be a Power 2, then a third, and then a handful of other conferences. Because the Pac-12 will go away.
All the good teams from the Pac-12 are coming to the Big Ten.
Or the Big 12, yeah. And those 2 conferences. And then shortly after 2030-ish, the ACC will split apart to all holy hell. And they will disperse to either the Big 10, the SEC, and the Big 12. So it'll then be the Big 2. Big 12 will still be number 3. If you want to say Big 3, that's fine.
Well, it sounded so. Here's what I got out of a couple different things that I listened to over this last week, and I didn't get a chance yet to go read that article, which I expect to do. I heard it was on the Omaha World Herald. I'm pretty sure I have to pay like $3 in order to be an Omaha World Herald member or something in order to read it. But
yeah, that's pricey.
No, I've just never done it. But from what I heard is, the ACC basically has all of the big players in the ACC ready to walk away. They just have to come to an agreement on their media buyout deal and get it done. And they're not, because I know you and I have talked about this before. We've talked about this on the show, how Clemson and Miami and those teams are not going to be able to leave the ACC because that media deal, you said the grant of rights deal is out to like
2036.
Excuse me, 2030. Crown's catching up on me. 2036.
Fucking disgusting.
Is it
Yeah,
the
no,
Crown
it's
or
terrible.
the Diet Dr. Pepper?
I don't know. It's probably both, man. But
I apologize.
But from what I understand,
right
I apologize too. From what I understand was that they are like ready to do a buyout deal on that and walk away.
So here's the thing. It's not just the ACC. So Barry Trammell came out and said that the Colorado is ready to accept an offer to go back to the Big 12. That's according to Barry Trammell, that Colorado is ready to go back to the Big 12. And as soon as that happens, the way that a lot of people have brought up the Big Ten expansion of the possibility of Oregon and Washington coming into the conference. It just seems
so natural.
You're right. Excuse me. But a lot of people have said that the Big Ten is kind of waiting for the Pac-12 to implode. Basically, they don't want to be the reason that the Pac-12 implodes. If the Pac-12 implodes for other reasons,
they want to buy off the parts after the engine
then
blows
they will
up.
come in. They will come in and pick up the scraps.
Exactly.
So it's kind of like the Big Ten is just kind of sitting there waiting. And if Colorado moves to the Big 12, there's long been a conversation of the four corner school: Arizona, Arizona State, Utah, Colorado, moving to the Big 12.
Is this a new approach based on the new Big Ten commissioner, or is this still kind of in line with what
conversation for a
doing?
while? This has been a conversation for a little while.
Well, then why were we so apt to go ahead and jump on taking USC and UCLA, but then just sit back and wait on potentially Stanford, Washington, and Oregon?
Again, the Big 12 or the Big 10 did not want to be a part of completely destroying the Pac-12. They just wanted to come in and pick up the pieces. So again, if Colorado and you or Arizona State,
They want to be a scavenger, not a destroyer of worlds.
bingo. As soon as the Pac-12 starts to split apart, then the Big Ten will come in and pick up the pieces. They do not want to be a part of destroying the conference.
Do you see anybody else outside of obviously the big two, Washington and Oregon?
Yeah.
Stanford, I think, would be, just from a football standpoint, an instant.
No, not a football standpoint. An academic standpoint, but
Well, academic standpoint, but I think from a football standpoint, they mesh right into
they
what.
don't. But okay.
Nope.
I mean, they're right in there with Rutgers and Maryland.
Maybe I'm thinking of what it was when Harbaugh was still
Yes.
there, and what it was for a few years after that.
David Shaw,
because,
yes.
yeah, David Shaw.
But since then, no.
Speaking of David Shaw, what the fuck is he doing now?
He's doing what he wants.
Yeah.
All right, so and outside of those three, do you see anything else?
He had a
from
cup of coffee. What do you want?
Like, is Arizona in play? Would you see any other
For the Big Ten?
For the Big Ten, yeah.
No. It's literally Washington, Oregon, Stanford, Cal. Those are the four teams that
Cal as well. Okay, Cal.
Yeah,
Okay.
for the academics part of it. Like,
No, that makes sense.
and the thing is, Stanford and Cal would be a lot like Rutgers and Maryland. Hey, just come along for the ride.
I don't know about that.
like a
We know you
Northwestern.
guys suck, but
Or like a
you're going to
Northwestern.
help us. Exactly.
Cal's like Northwestern, where they'll walk out and pop you in the mouth.
Yeah,
if you're
I
not
was
paying
going to say,
attention.
Cal throws out a 9-win team every once in a while.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
also,
like
they're not bad at
15
basketball.
years ago.
No, but I'm saying they're not
Who
that
cares
bad
about
at basketball.
basketball? That's not the point. 85% of the TV revenue dollars is all about football.
I thought you said March Madness was a pretty good revenue generator.
No, it is in a general. I'm talking about conference from conference for the TV dollars. The TV dollars that they sign with the TV, the executives, ESPN, Fox, NBC,
Okay,
CBS.
yeah, no, I get it.
85% of that is strictly football related, not March Madness related.
Is the Big
March
Ten
Madness is a different animal.
Is the Big Ten doing? Because I heard this is what put the ACC back together, at least for this year. Was they basically
ACC is dead in the water. By
they
the way,
basically divvied it up and said, okay, well, you big boys get this much extra over what the rest of us, peons get. Is the Big Ten doing that with this new media deal, or is this even? I thought it was all equal rights.
It's all even. As soon as it does not become even, the conference is destroyed. That's why the ACC is dead in the water.
Well, that's the only way they're keeping Clemson and what.
No.
I mean,
Look at the size of
what are the
media
major
deal.
ones that are going to leave? Clemson's obviously going to, in my opinion, Clemson goes to the SEC.
Clemson,
makes the
North
most
Carolina, Virginia, Florida State, Miami. Those are the key cogs of the ACC situation.
So you see what? Florida State, Miami, Clemson go to the SEC, and the rest of them go to the Big Ten?
I mean, they could go to those teams could go to the Big Ten.
I could see Miami in the Big Ten for sure.
I don't see Miami in the Big Ten because
Why?
they're surrounded by SEC schools.
Do you see USC, UCLA in the Big Ten? No, you don't. So anybody could be in the Big Ten. Like,
But
it's,
USC and UCLA aren't surrounded by and constantly playing
no,
SEC schools.
location doesn't matter. That's my point.
That is true. That is true.
It's
It
not
might
about
matter in the Southeastern Conference.
BYU.
No, but I mean, ultimately, what we're going towards is an AFC, NFC. That's what we're going towards in college football.
You're not wrong. But BYU, West Virginia are in the same conference starting next year.
That's wild. That is wild.
So again,
It's because that's a 2-hour trip.
Because BYU's Utah, right?
yes. And West Virginia's West Virginia.
That's that's the same trip as fucking playing Grand Island in high school. Like, it's a 2-hour trip.
No, like
Do you geographically know where West Virginia and Utah are?
They use airplanes. That's what I'm talking about, asshole.
I thought you were talking about drive time.
This is the whole no.
I was seriously concerned about you.
I'm aware.
Jesus Christ.
It flew over your head the point that I was making, which was everybody's
It's not a
close now.
2-hour trip. That's like a 6-hour trip.
In
but-
case you didn't know, we've been drinking this podcast.
No, I was. Oh my god! I thought for sure you thought that Utah and West Virginia were by each other. I was like, what the fuck are you talking about?
No, but Utah and West Virginia is not a 6-hour flight, I promise you.
The point is,
It's not 2.
the point is they should not
Look it
be.
up.
They should not be in the same conference. But that's irrelevant nowadays. Nobody cares. So cool if Oregon and Clemson are in the same Big Ten. Does anybody fucking matter? Hell,
Sounds fucking awesome.
even if Oregon and Washington join the Big Ten, you can go to Oregon to Rutgers. Does anybody fucking care?
You know, if we would get Clemson, there's an argument to be made that after adding Oregon and Clemson, the Big Ten would be the big dog.
No, we'd be 1 and 2.
So there'd be an argument to be made.
Equal.
It
1
would
and
be
2.
more equal, yes.
1A, 1B.
But I'm saying if Clemson goes to the SEC, that's a big lopside. I think.
Okay.
Maybe not for the future, but looking back over the last 10 years and using that as data, you'd have to look at it. Because when I think about the college football playoff since its existence with 4 teams, the teams that I think about being in the college football playoff on a regular basis, Clemson, Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State. I don't even think of Michigan until recently.
Yep.
But I think of Oregon because Oregon was there, 2 or 3 out of the first 4.
2.9 hours.
2.9
He's still
hours.
looking it up. Just keep
Jesus.
talking.
I really figured it was more
Get the
than that.
fuck out of
Yeah, I
here.
know. It's because you thought I was going by bus.
Anyway,
That'd be 35. But no, if Clemson and Oregon and Washington would come to the Big Ten, I think you'd see true parity between the conferences, and it would be fun as fuck to watch.
so that kind of brings me to my last big point that I wanted to bring up was the schedule proposition for the future. 2024, obviously, we're bringing in 2 more teams. It's going to be a 16-team Big Ten. Makes perfect sense.
Well, Big 16 is kind of a mouthful. Especially when it's going to go to Big 20 2 years later.
So we have in the college football landscape a Power 5, which was everybody wants to talk about. And currently, at least as we stand here right now, 3 of the Power 5 conferences are done with divisions. Starting this upcoming season, 4 of the Power 5
SEC is going to do it with them too.
they're okay, I'm sorry. ACC is getting rid of them this year. SEC gets rid of them next year when Texas and Oklahoma shows up. So I guess
Same as when we do.
well, yes, I guess. But they've already announced it. Big Ten has not announced it yet. So starting next year, 4 of the Power 5 conferences will do away with divisions. With Nebraska in the Big Ten, with the Big Ten have not had a decision yet. Now, granted, I think some of the reason why that they have not had a decision yet because they've been in a transition of the commissioner. Now that they have a commissioner, I think that the news might come out.
Do you know much about him? I know this is something you thought the news was going to come out on soon.
I mean,
So do you know much about like his agenda and all that
him
stuff?
being a media guy? Outside of that, I don't know.
Because he's coming from where again?
He's kind of a like media. He's a media savvy guy. So he's more of a TV guy than an athletics
What's
guy.
he been doing though?
I can't say that right now.
Because I mean, Trev Alberts was a media guy before he took the UNO job, and he's obviously worked out pretty damn well as an athletic director to this point, even though he's destroyed some worlds. No, I think it would be interesting to see the Big Ten do something different than what the rest of them are doing, because I don't think going divisionless is any indication for what the future holds.
So that's part of my question. Should we stick with divisions or not? Because every other Power 5 conference is going without divisions.
Yeah, but for what point? I guess for me, it comes down to a scheduling thing.
No,
If you want to play similar opponents on a year-to-year basis, you should play similar opponents on a year-to-year basis, which involves having divisions. If you don't care about playing similar opponents and you want parity, then you need to be matching good with bad, bad with good, good with good, bad with bad, year over year. Kind of like what the NFL does in their smaller divisions to try and create better records and create more opportunity for the lower teams to come up. If you're going to do something like that, then I actually see, if we go to 16, that'd be us going to 16 teams next year, right?
Yep.
You do that and you throw out 4 divisions.
So you're propositioning the pod system.
Yes. Well,
Okay.
I don't
No, that's fine. I'm asking.
Divisions are divisions, whether it's 1 or 2. I mean, conferences are conferences.
Pods would be 4 divisions.
Yeah, it would also still be just divisions.
Okay. Well, I'm asking a question.
I'm just fucking around. My suggestion would be Nebraska, Iowa.
No, I'm not asking schedule yet.
Wisconsin,
I'm not asking schedule
Minnesota
yet. No.
in one division.
You're jumping ahead of my questions.
No, but I'm saying you play your division. There's 4 divisions in the Big Ten with 16 teams.
So you're talking about
you play
pods.
your division.
Hold on.
And you play 3 more.
Hold on. You're talking about pods.
Sure.
Not
however you want to
divisions.
define it. I'm talking about divisions.
Well,
They're still called divisions in the NFL. And there's
We cannot keep just saying the word divisions.
so it would be 2 8-team divisions?
no.
You guys are asking each other 2 different things. BJ, I think you're saying there's 4 divisions and they're not linked to any other
So I
teams.
say
and
if
hang
it's
on one
going
second.
pods,
So-
4, I say pods. But okay.
But you're thinking about 2 different
I
concepts.
got
He's
you, I got
thinking
you.
I'm talking about the NFL where there's 3
separate
divisions in
things,
each conference.
and they don't do anything else. What you're thinking of, if correct me if I'm wrong, is 2 divisions and within them pods. So you have 2 sets of 4, and then those sets of 4 also play each other more. And it's 2 different concepts. So that's why I want to make sure we're clarifying here.
Yeah.
BJ, you're just saying you
saying-
got 4 sets of teams, and then
I'm
they can
saying
play
you have
any
4
random
divisions, and they play themselves. So you have for sure 3 games locked in, and you have 4 other conference games, and then you play cross conference for the remainder of the schedule.
Okay, so you want 4 divisions in a 16-team conference.
Yeah,
Okay, so
it looks the same as what the NFL does.
my question would be, who is in Nebraska's division of the 4 teams?
Iowa, Wisconsin, Minnesota.
Okay.
That's exactly what I said. Now, you did ask me earlier, who do you think would be that, and who would you want to see that?
I asked you in a different conversation. As far he's talking pods and divisions, so I'm going to ask you in this different question. Whether it's divisionless or divisions or pods or whatever else, one of the conversations is in the scheduling model, the possibility of a 9-game conference schedule season. If they do 3 guaranteed rivalry games, quote unquote rivalry games, however you want to phrase that, whatever. And then 6 rotating games every 2 years. Because that's the math would play out where literally if you're in school for 4 years, you're going to play
everybody.
at everybody.
That's kind of cool, though.
Yes. So basically,
And from a recruiting standpoint, I mean, for players that care about playing someplace, that makes sense a little bit.
so basically it's a 3-6 model is what they call it. So if it's a 3-6 model, whether it's pods, divisions, or no divisions, who do you think should be and or who do you want to be Nebraska's 3 rivalry games?
You can't lose Iowa.
Okay.
Can't lose Iowa, plain and simple. I also think because they try to be Big Red 2.0, you can't lose Wisconsin.
Okay.
Like they've tried to adopt or almost interpret, or not interpret, but imposture themselves as Nebraska 2.0.
Yeah.
You can't lose Wisconsin.
Okay.
So those 2 for me are huge.
Okay.
I think Minnesota, because of the tension that's been there for the last 5 or 6, 7 years. That's a big one that stands out in my head, but I also don't know that like makes that much sense. It does because they're one of the closest teams to us.
Yep. They're closer than Wisconsin.
They are.
If you want to talk proximity.
Yeah, but I also, you know, when it comes to, you know, we were just talking about it. It doesn't matter where you are anymore.
I agree.
When I think about it, if we're going forward with UCLA and USC, and I'm thinking about teams that I want to be a rival, if I want to be, Oklahoma and Nebraska was the most relevant college football rivalry for 2 or 3 decades. It was considered one of the greatest rivalries in all of sports, including professional. Like, it was ranked up there with the Red Sox and the Yankees. I don't even know who the fuck else. You know, the Cowboys and the Eagles, the Cowboys and the Redskins.
Even Ohio State, Michigan, all those.
Ohio State, it was ranked up there
Duke,
like
North
that.
Carolina basketball,
You
all those.
can't have low-life schools like Minnesota and Iowa be your fucking big-time marquee matchups. So, yeah, you got to keep Iowa, you got to keep Wisconsin, but I would think putting USC on that would be huge. Putting Ohio State on that would be huge. Putting Michigan on that would be fucking huge. Putting Michigan on that with the story backing up the 97 controversy. I mean, man, I'll tell you what, this last week, I spent a little bit of time talking back and forth with ChatGPT about the stats behind the seasons that Nebraska and Michigan had. And you know what? I actually came away from that feeling like that was a closer controversy than a lot of people think it was, especially around these parts.
It wasn't, but okay.
I'm just saying. There's the eye test, which obviously AI can't help with.
Yeah.
Because we all saw what those teams were. But I don't remember it. Like, I can go back and watch the games on YouTube, but I don't remember seeing those teams. I was young enough. I have some remembrance of a few of the Nebraska games, but I never watched Michigan play.
With all due respect, if Michael Severe is listening to this, all due respect to you, buddy. I love you, but no, Nebraska would have beat the absolute holy fuck out of Michigan in 97.
Statistically, the only advantage that we had was...
He disagrees with me on this. That's why I'm saying that.
No, I'm saying statistically, the only advantage we had was on the offense, on the run game. That's it. They were better on defense than us statistically on both sides of the ball, or excuse me, on both pass and run. Yeah. And they were better by far on the pass game than us, but we blew them out the water on the run game. So it really comes down to, could we continue to run all over them like we did everybody else or not? But I think that is a backdrop to an amazing rivalry if we can get on the same level. But the USC, like, could you imagine Iowa, Michigan, USC against Nebraska every single year being the rivalry games?
Amazing.
And fuck Iowa, we can beat the dick off of them every fucking year long. It doesn't fucking matter.
Except that we don't.
They can be terrible. No, I'm saying futuristically. Futuristically.
Hopefully, yes.
Playing USC, a top 10 matchup with USC and Michigan every year. That'd be fucking amazing.
So those are the teams that you want or think should be, or both.
I'm just telling you what I would want. If I was a person who cared about the Nebraska brand, that's how I would play that out.
Okay.
I would actually probably pick Ohio State over Michigan.
Okay.
Just from a tradition standpoint, I think Ohio State has a little bit more on that aspect other than the stadium. But the backdrop of that 97 controversy,
yep.
I mean,
either
way, that's great.
Okay, so
and USC, Nebraska, that's always going to be a thing. I don't care who you are. I don't care how recently we've played. It's like it's like Nebraska Notre Dame. It's one of those games that's always and forever going to be a thing because you're a storied program and you've never been in our conference.
Yep. So I completely agree with you. That's who I would want.
Wait. So please repeat. Who would you want?
No, I think everything that he said makes sense. Michigan totally makes sense. USC makes sense. Okay. Iowa's right fucking next door, so they make sense.
Okay.
But
Iowa can't go anywhere.
I don't see that being
I agree with you.
The 3 teams.
Okay.
So realistically, who's it going to be?
So I'm asking you, Matt, who do you want and who do you think it should be? And if it's both, that's fine. But
if you look realistically, Iowa still has to stay. Like there's no scenario where I see Iowa walking away.
I think
from that.
Iowa is a non-standard. You just need to pick the other two.
They're right next door.
You need to pick the other two.
Is it realistic? Yes. Do I actually want to play them every year? Yes. That's just what it is. I'm saying it. I'm agreeing with BJ. I would absolutely love to play USC every year, and I'd absolutely love to play Michigan every year. I don't see us having those two in our pod, in our division.
Yeah.
So who do we actually see being in our division starting next year?
Well, if you're strictly looking at divisions like that, like if we're not talking about the legacy model, which like I would call that a legacy model just based on the fact that a rivalry typically has some legacy behind it. Like there's a story, there's a tradition there. And so if you're not looking at it from a legacy standpoint, if you're just looking at it from division, it has to be Iowa, Michigan, or Iowa, Minnesota, probably Northwestern in Wisconsin.
Well, it's only 3,
Yeah,
not
you
4.
can only have 3
Oh yeah, so Iowa, it would be Iowa, Minnesota with Northwestern.
over Wisconsin.
If you're just looking at it geographically, yeah.
I didn't say geographically. I said realistically. Who do you think would be in a 4-team pod?
Wisconsin, Iowa.
You did not say Minnesota.
I don't know that it would
You
be
literally
Minnesota.
just said Wisconsin. That's why I was just...
Yeah, but if I was just looking at it and geography didn't matter, it definitely be Wisconsin.
In the day and
Iowa.
age of conference realignment in 2023, location does not matter. So like, it's
2 hours.
I agree with you to a point,
2.9 hours.
but at
we
the same
literally
time,
have a Big Ten with Rutgers and USC in the same conference. So
You're not wrong.
location does not fucking matter. That's why
You're
I'm
not
saying
wrong.
it.
Cheers to that.
So
No,
Matt,
you're not wrong.
So, Matt, I know we had talked about this at the bar before we started recording. What would you want, and what do you expect?
I already said I completely agree with him on the what I would want. I want all of the legacy matchups. I definitely don't want to play a team.
What is your legacy matchups?
Michigan. I like Michigan a lot. Iowa, because they're right fucking here.
Okay.
I don't want to play Ohio State every year. For some reason, I really like the idea of Michigan State.
Okay.
Just because that game, to me, always seems to be a really fucking fun game. So I'd say either Michigan or Michigan State. Some team from that area. And then...
If you talk to people from Michigan, they're not even close.
well, I don't give a shit about the people from Michigan, so fuck off.
Because I don't know if you've heard this before, but fuck Michigan.
Well, if I could be honest about it, I think
to
the
wrap
last
up really quick. Either
No, go
Wisconsin. I don't see USC being one of our rivalry games. I just don't.
Well, you're young.
I don't know what my age has to do with my opinion on that. I'm saying I don't see USC getting lumped in with Nebraska where Nebraska's been recently.
That's fair. That's fair.
By recently, I mean the last 20 years.
The other thing that I would say about this is I think the last decade blinds me on Iowa. Because honestly, if you erase what's gone on over the last decade and them tormenting us a little bit and us living right here, I would take Iowa out of that mix. And if I was looking at true rivalry games, what I would want, it'd probably be Michigan, Ohio State, USC.
Fuck no.
So again, that's what you want.
Yes, what I would want if it was like
I want a
true,
healthy dose of hot dickings every year.
No. Listen, no, but I expect us to be giving out hot dickings soon. There's that.
Expect or
But at
desire.
the same time, both. But at the same time, what I'm saying is if I'm really looking at rivalry games, the best rivalries that we see are blue bloods. Oklahoma, Nebraska. That's a fucking blue blood against a blue blood.
But that's
old
one
school.
game. We're talking 3 games.
So why would they not all be against blue bloods?
So you want all 3 of them to be against just ass kickers?
Because
Okay.
I expect us to
That's
be
why
in that ass kicking category.
That's why I'm asking the question. What do
Yeah,
you
that's
want?
what I expect. Yep, that's what I want.
Okay.
what I would expect, Minnesota, Northwestern, Iowa.
Okay. That's why I asked the question in two different aspects. What I want, like just thinking traditionally and locationally and all those things, would be just a nice, clean and easy Minnesota, Wisconsin, Iowa. I think Iowa's a no-brainer. End of the conversation. That's one. It's more about the other two because Nebraska, Iowa is Nebraska, Iowa. That should never go anywhere. That should not be an alternating year. That should be literally every year conversation and 6-3 model. I don't give a fuck. It's Nebraska, Iowa. Now, the other two are a conversation. I understand where you guys are both coming from with Matt. You're bringing up Michigan State, whichever one, all of those things. One of the things that when we started with the Big Ten situation was it was Nebraska, Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State. We're going to match those four teams up as much as humanly possible.
Fuck, I keep forgetting about Penn State, too.
I'm just saying, it was those like four name schools.
Yeah.
Everybody knows them. Everybody
We played them all the time.
I mean, we played Ohio State every fucking year for 6 years, and then we switched to the
Fuck
Michigan.
you, Urban Meyer.
No, but it was those four. The whole mindset of the Big Ten was to match up the name, quote unquote, name schools against each other. So in my mindset of the potential 2024 schedule, first of all, we haven't really talked about, are you guys good with no divisions? Or do you want divisions?
Like I said, yeah, we kind of did touch on that. At least I answered. I don't think Matt did.
We kind of mostly talked about who our three teams were.
I would want divisions.
I feel like sounds like we're not going to do divisions. That's why I'm asking.
I feel like if you're denoting rivalry games, you're basically creating mini divisions anyway.
But I don't think we're going to do divisions.
That's fine. I'm saying I feel like if you're denoting rivalry games like that.
There's a difference there to me because you can have a rivalry with Iowa and a rivalry with Wisconsin. And Wisconsin doesn't have to have a rivalry with Iowa to then complete the division. They can go have a rivalry with Minnesota.
I do agree with you on that.
In my opinion, I give a fuck all about divisions.
So
I want 3 games that I can count on every year, and I don't care what those 3 teams are doing outside of their schedule.
Like I said, even going into this year, 3 of the Power 5 conferences are not doing divisions.
Yeah. So I don't give a fuck.
And starting in 2024... at least as we know right now, because we don't know what the Big Ten is going to do, 4 of the Power 5 divisions are going to do no divisions.
Let me put it this way.
So that's why I'm asking the question.
If I'm going to play Wisconsin, Minnesota, and Iowa every single year as my rivalry games, I do not give a shit if Wisconsin and Iowa play each other.
Yep.
So I don't care about divisions. I care about these are the games that I can count on, and then we're also going to go fucking battle axe with another 6 teams in the Big Ten, because then we're gonna have good games no matter what.
Here's the other thing that you have to consider when we're looking at all this, the whole divisionless thing and all these, not necessarily creating like opponent situations, things like that. Are we going to continue down this road of objective viewership for our college football playoff committee, selecting these teams when we go to are we going to 12 or 16? It's just 12, right?
12.
Are we going to continue that, or are we going to go to more of a numbers-based system based on like opponents, things like that? Integrating essentially what the BCS did with.
It's one of the reasons why I'm asking the question.
So maybe I'm getting there a little earlier than you wanted.
You're fine. You're fine.
I guess for me, the NFL already has a great model in place. Why would we not mimic it? If we're already making the sport move towards a professional sport anyway.
Because we don't have 2 clear defined conferences?
No, we're assuming we do. We're assuming there's 2 conferences that are competing.
The reason for getting rid of divisions is a lot like
5.
back in the day we're talking about the Kenny Bell situation of the block that he had in the Big 12 or Big 10 title game. When you have the reason for getting rid of divisions is you don't have a 7-5 Wisconsin team playing in the Big 10 championship game because these other teams are like ineligible for off the field reasons, and suddenly you have a Wisconsin team who's 7-5 and beats the shit out of Nebraska 70 to whatever. All of a sudden, win the Big 10 championship. That's with the 12-team playoff. That's why teams are getting rid of the divisions, so you can have the top 2 teams play in the conference title game, and it doesn't necessarily hurt whoever the fuck wins that. So they can both get into it.
I totally get where you're coming from.
That's the point of this, though.
No, but here's my question on that. Why are you going to make it any different than what the NFL does, AFC versus NFC?
Because
SEC
the NFL,
versus Big Ten.
The NFL.
Because it's not SEC versus Big Ten. It's SEC versus Big 10 versus Big 12 versus ACC. Like it's
because it's not the NFL.
It's not 2 conferences. Yes, it might be headed there, but we're not headed there by the time we get to the 12.
Not right now.
Okay,
team format.
Okay, so to continue what you're down this road of what you're talking about, if you're going to say you're going to mix and match based on ranking what the top 12 teams are on either side of the bracket.
I still don't know how else you could do it.
You're going to mix and match that. How are you going to get a feel for who is ranked where based solely on record if you're only seeing 3 crossover games for each team? Because that's another big thing. You look at the NFL's model, and you're still seeing 2 conferences that have guaranteed games against like opponents, blah, 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 based on division, based on previous season finish, all those different things that go into that.
I don't know how you could possibly look at the NFL's model.
No, I don't see how you could possibly ignore it.
Do you want me to give you my reasoning?
Teams versus 32 teams.
Or the committee's reasoning.
But Matt, what you're missing is we're not talking about 115 teams anymore. We're talking about 2 conferences.
But we're not.
Yes, we
There's
are.
5 conferences.
No more. You're missing the whole point of this conversation.
Well, we're
going to 2 conferences.
Okay, wait, there's 2 conferences in the future. Not right now, though.
That's what I've been saying this whole time.
That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about this whole perspective.
You're talking like 6 years in the future.
No, I'm talking about 2 years in the future because that's how fast this is going to happen.
It'll be more than
Absolutely
that,
not.
No, the ACC's not going anywhere for at least 5 more years. So it's much more than that in the future.
4 weeks ago, whenever the last time we did a show, you said the ACC wasn't going anywhere until when? The Grand Rights deal runs out in 2036. 36. That's the last, 4 weeks ago. We've changed now from 2036 to 2025, 26.
No. The only way the ACC can get out of all their shit is if 8 teams, more than half. Now, right now there's 7, so they need 1 more team to jump on board.
That'll take 5 years for sure.
So again, we're talking 2030. That's what I just said.
I was joking.
Well, I'm just saying.
No,
the ACC's not going anywhere for another 4, 5, 6 years.
There is 0 chance in 2 years there are only 2 conferences in college football.
Well, no, I mean there'll be more than 2,
That's
but
my
main
point.
conferences.
That's my whole point.
There will be 2 up here.
The point that I was getting at
there will be a third, which will be the Big 12, and then there will be everybody else below them.
The point that I was getting at with looking at the NFL model, just so I can finish that thought, was simply that if you're going to rank opponents 1 through 12 and put them in the playoff at that, you have to have more common games. You have to have more crossover, which means you cannot have as many conference games. He was talking about a schedule of 9 conference games, which leaves only 3 crossover games. You can't do that. And then all your crossover games, if you're lucky, have to be against good opponents in the other conference. Otherwise, when you look at common opponents, when you look at strength of schedule, things like that, you might get fucked because you might wind up with Vandy, Missouri, and Memphis at that point. Like I don't even know. On a crossover schedule, and then there's nothing that the voters, if we're leading into a voting schedule or a voting committee, can put you up against when it comes to maybe Ohio State played Alabama and Georgia.
I don't want to keep being this guy, but it's still not possible. Even if we move to a 2-conference system, you're looking at 26, 30 teams per conference. Like, it's going to be huge. And so that's still 60 teams crossing over as opposed to 32.
It'll be at least 32 because 16 per, but yeah.
But that's my point is we're not going to leave Clemson out in the wind. We're not going to leave other teams. Like, the Big Ten and the SEC will then have to grow to 20 teams, 24 teams, 26 teams.
You can get to 44 and encompass all the big boys.
44 compared to 32, you're still not having as much crossover. That what you're saying doesn't quite add up.
No, Matt, that's my point. That was actually the point that I was getting to was
that's like
my whole point
5 or 6 years from now,
But what I'm saying is, even if we get to exactly what BJ is saying, you cannot base it off of how the NFL does it because there's not the same amount of crossover.
You're right.
Actually, I disagree with what you're saying because you're
agree.
making my point for me.
No,
will you just hear me out?
I will, but
the point that I'm trying to make is the NFL has divisions for a reason. The NFL has divisions. The NFL uses their divisions to play common opponents based on last year's schedule for a reason. They have a certain amount of crossover games for a reason. But they also keep each side siloed off for the playoffs for a reason. Because they only see the majority of your schedule, the majority of your record is made up from playing your conference. It's not made up from playing crossover games. And there's no committee to make that decision. There are tiebreaker scenarios in place, and there are records that go to placing people in those situations. If you're looking at everything objectively in this situation, what I'm saying is looking at the NFL model is the most accurate way or the best way to look at it because of if you say a Big Ten entity and an SEC entity are going to meet in the championship game every year, awesome. That makes the most sense because there's not enough, like you guys just both said, there's not enough crossover, especially if we get up to 20, 22 teams, 24 teams in each division. There's not enough crossover to make enough sense to an objective committee voting on rankings of teams to place them in a playoff.
You have to have the committee because when you have 2 sets of 24 and you're looking at 48 teams coming in, you're going to have teams with the same record towards the bottom of your playoff list. You have to then be objective about who's going to be in the playoff.
That's why there's tiebreakers in place. It happens in the NFL all the time.
It's not.
It happened this past year. There were 5 different scenarios where certain teams did or didn't get into the playoffs in the AFC this year.
We're just going to have to agree to disagree on this one. It's not possible.
I don't disagree with your situation. My situation is the NFL model that you're talking about is
not objective. It's scientific.
No. What I'm saying is the NFL model is farther down the road than what we're trying to talk about.
But why?
It just is.
No, we're literally talking about a scenario that winds up with us essentially in the same place as what the NFL is.
The answer, you said why. The answer is until the Pac-12 and the ACC implodes, which it will.
That's totally fair. I'm talking down the road when it's 2 conferences.
So that's why I say the NFL model is too far down the road. That's why I'm trying to say what I say.
That's fair.
The ACC.
I'm putting the cart before the horse.
No, you're good, and I get where you're coming from. Your model is not going to happen until at least bare minimum 2030. So we're talking 6-7 years down the road. Bare minimum. So I'm just not really worried about 7 years from now. Because 1,000 things will change in the college sports landscape, not just college football, what we typically talk about, just the college sports landscape. There's a billion things that will change in that time frame. That's what I'm trying to say. again, you talked about one of the last shows that we did, and I talked about the ACC. Nothing is going to change with the ACC. As much as I will believe right now, in this very moment, the ACC is dead in the water. It's not dead in the water until at least 2030, 2031. Because of the money situation of trying to get out of the granted rights.
Okay, but let me ask you how you put a timeline on that.
Unless 8 teams, because it has to be over half.
Yeah, you already said they have 7.
They have 7.
It's not going to take much for 7 teams, those 7 teams who already know they're going to get more money if they go elsewhere, to convince a Syracuse
but most of those other ones are like, are we sure we have a spot in the extra?
Yeah, how hard would it be for Clemson to convince Syracuse?
But,
hey, by the way, we're going to the Big Ten.
Doesn't have a spot. Syracuse doesn't have a spot.
So
who's picking up Syracuse?
No,
who's picking up Syracuse?
Let me ask you this:
after those 7, who's picking up Syracuse?
Why the fuck would the Big Ten not pick up Syracuse if they picked up Rutgers?
They would not. They don't give a fuck.
How is Syracuse any less than Rutgers?
No. That's not the point.
It is the point.
Rutgers is already in. That's irrelevant.
You're in. You're good.
Get in where you fit in.
So here's my next thing, and it leads to the second part of the agenda tonight that you really wanted to get to.
I was going to go into my 3 teams that I thought would Nebraska.
Oh shit, we didn't even hear that. Yeah, no. Let me come back to this.
I don't care.
Let me come back to this. What were you going to say?
So here's my thing on the 3.
What's your want and what's your realistic?
Honestly, they're both.
Really? They match?
I swear to God, they match. So realistically, Iowa done no-brainer. Iowa's won, and I don't care about anything else. So Iowa's locked in. If we're going to do the 3-6 model on the potential 16-team Big Ten schedule, I think Minnesota should be the other one, or one of the other 2, just for location purposes, if nothing else. Matt, you and I, we were out before we recorded, and you gave me your instance, and I told you, I said, I'm not going to even respond until we start recording because it's just going to be a long story because I don't know how to not have short stories. One of the things when Nebraska came into the Big Ten was all about scheduling the big boys against the big boys. That's one of the reasons why we played Ohio State every year. That's one of the reasons why we transitioned into then playing Michigan every year. It was always about Nebraska, Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State playing each other. Those 4 teams, however that we could do it, is however we could do it. It's those 4 teams playing. For Nebraska purposes, it's all about recruiting. Being able to say we're going to be playing in the Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State area.
Well, it gives us an ability to recruit against them.
So my 3rd team is either of the California teams. I really don't give a shit which one of the 2 is. Now, I would take UCLA.
Easier.
I really don't give a fuck if it's USC. But it's all about recruiting. You could literally walk into a California prospect and say, we are going to play in your state in front of your family every other year. Whether it's USC or UCLA, it doesn't fucking matter. We play your team every other year at your home.
Yeah.
And for me, it's about recruiting. So you give me, of those 3 teams, the 3-6 model, you give me Iowa, Minnesota. I'll even take Wisconsin if you want to take Minnesota out of there. That's cool. I think Iowa's a lock. Doesn't matter.
I agree.
But I think Minnesota, for location purposes, closest, whatever. I would prefer to take one of the California teams. I would pick UCLA. Whatever. I'll take USC. I don't give a fuck. Strictly for recruiting purposes, if I'm a Nebraska guy, I'd be like, give me one of the California schools. Because that will help me in recruiting first and foremost. That's why
You think much of that changes, though, based on our coaching staff? Because
No.
it doesn't seem like our coaching staff has any ties to California.
Don't care.
And it doesn't seem like they care that much about recruiting California.
It gives you hopeful to be able to recruit California.
That's fair. No, I agree with that. That's fair.
Period. End of story. I want the whole point of when Nebraska left the Big 12 and they went to the Big 10, everybody was like, well, we can't recruit Texas anymore because we don't play in Texas. This gives us an opportunity to play against a California school every fucking year. The thing is,
I agree.
Even when we're not playing at let's just say it's UCLA. Even when we're not, every other year we're going to play USC. So, again, this gives us an opportunity to be able to play in California and to say, hey, your family members can see you play almost every year.
So
And even when you're here for 4 years, your family members will be able to see you play here twice.
Yeah. So
That's a big fucking deal when it comes to recruiting.
when we're looking at this whole conference realignment, when we're looking at all this stuff, things are obviously changing. Things are very fluid over the next couple of years. When it comes to NIL, when it comes to what we've seen, I mean, I wanted to bring this up earlier when we were talking about Colorado. Pat Narduzzi up at Pitt fucking blew up on prime time.
You guys think I'm an angry old man.
Jesus. No, but I mean, like, for real though, he made great points, and like
He did.
So here's the thing for me is there's a logical business side of my mind that struggles with the fact that it's like no. You need to remember the athletic programs are now, and they have been for a bit,
A business.
but nobody's talked about it. They're a business.
Yep.
They are not part of the university. The ticket sales, all those donations, all that shit is not going towards lowering tuition costs for underprivileged students. You're not getting any of that, and any of that hogwash from ticket sales. It's a business.
Yeah.
And we want to treat it as such. The other side of it still, like the other side of my brain still says, this is college football. This is not the pros. There are a lot of kids who come into college football who come from nothing, who come from nowhere, who have no knowledge of how business is and how business is run. And what Dion did fucked over a lot of kids who probably came from countryside towns of 1,400 people, and they have no experience with any of that big city life stuff. And they went there on the promise of having a scholarship to go to the University of Colorado and be a Buffalo, and they think that they're going to be somebody. Maybe they will, maybe they won't make it. But they're busting out of there because this is fucking terrible. This high-flying city slicker Deion Sanders with all the flash and all the cameras and all the Louis is coming in, and I got to go.
We coming.
I got to go. So when Pat Narduzzi called him out and he talked about this, I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
But you think about that, and you think about the media rights deals and things like that. Like, I look at Colorado right now, like Colorado, what more could they have done to position themselves to try and get in on the Big Ten or SEC expansion when it comes to media rights, when it comes to money, when it comes to things like that? Like, Colorado's like, it's like they threw a Hail Mary by hiring Deion Sanders to try and see if they can generate enough excitement around their program to get invited to the big party that's about to happen, which is a 2-conference party. Am I wrong?
No.
Like that's an outside perspective that's like way, way, way outside. Like, nobody's talking about this right now, but like, I think that might be something that Colorado, like, they're like, we don't give a fuck if Coach Prime comes in here and completely, butt fucks this shit all to hell. Like, they can be terrible. He can be gone. We'll fire his ass in 3 years. That's fine. But I feel like they wanted to use him for his access. It's kind of like us getting the bump from Dylan Raiola.
Yep.
It's like they wanted to get that bump from Deion coming in and being all that flash and all that flair and all that whatever. They don't give a fuck if he's successful. They said, we want his exposure for 2 or 3 years so we can maybe get on the radar of, hey, man, he's got an HBO special. He's got an HBO special. Let's get on the fucking radar on HBO. Let's get on fucking everybody's radar, and let's get invited to this big 2-conference dance.
Yep.
Am I wrong?
No. That's what they're trying for.
I just think they're trying to capitalize on him for 1 to 3 years, and they don't really give a fuck about his record. They don't give a fuck about the players he brings in. We want to get in on this 2-team or two-side conference realignment. That's what they want.
It kind of goes into what I said. I will firmly admit it, and I kind of regret it now, but I will admit it. When we were going through our coaching search, I said, and I know, BJ, you agreed with me, I'm all about Deion coming to Nebraska because at the bare minimum,
amazing recruiter.
He's a flash of lightning for the program. Now, granted, seeing what he has done at Colorado, I don't know that I would like it at Nebraska.
I don't know if he could have done that at Nebraska.
You're not wrong, but he would have done that at Nebraska because of what our record was. But one of the main reasons why he's doing it at Colorado is because of what the record was at Colorado.
I'm just going to go ahead and say this. The reason he's not at Nebraska is because of what he told Trev Alberts he was going to do at Nebraska if he
there was never a real interview. So
who told you that?
There was never a real.
Who told you that?
There was never.
I don't believe that.
Okay.
I don't think Trev Alberts did his due diligence if he didn't interview Deion Sanders.
Okay. Then according to you, he did not do his. He did not. But
okay, so if you have information, let us know.
I don't.
If you don't actually have the information, then don't tell me it didn't happen.
I disagree.
You disagree. That's fine. You can't tell me it didn't happen.
I will just say.
I think that a conversation at least with his people happened, and he knew he was going to come in and shake the tree.
I do not believe that a conversation between Trev Alberts and Deion Sanders ever actually happened.
Okay, maybe his people though. At some point,
even there, I don't think Trev Alberts had a conversation with even his people.
Oh, whatever. Doesn't matter. Like I said, I don't really care. I think that we wound up with the guy that we needed. I think Colorado wound up with the guy that they needed.
Yes,
and they have very different direction for the way that they want to run their athletic department than we do.
Yeah, I think he fits perfectly for Colorado with the way that things have played out. Again, I will firmly admit, I think that he would have been a great situation for Nebraska, lightning bolt of energy, all of those things. With the way things have played out, I don't think that would have.
Could you
worked
imagine
here.
a red and white starter jacket that had Prime plastered all over the front of it and not a single Nebraska logo?
But not just all of that, but just getting rid of so many players and trying to transfer in so many players. I just don't think it would have worked here.
No, I agree. That's why I think ultimately I do think Trev Alberts probably had a lot of conversations with a lot of people. Maybe he didn't talk to Deion or his people, but he probably talked to enough people that were connected to that situation enough to know that's not a conversation I need to have.
Yeah, he asked Urban Meyer, and Urban Meyer was like, "Nah."
That's kind of my point. Like, I just don't think that there was an actual like maybe was there like, hey, hello, how are you? Like, I mean, a real conversation. I
think the reports.
I don't think that there was a real conversation between the two parties.
I agree with that. I think the reports that Deion was being hired by Nebraska, if you remember that happening.
That was wrong.
No, I'm saying if you remember that coming out, I think that came out from his camp.
Yes.
I think that was a stalking horse move.
Yes.
I think that was, Nebraska's interested in us. I'm going to get more money out of Colorado. Because in all reality, it's no different than the Auburn stuff. I think if Auburn showed any interest in Deion, if Nebraska had any interest in Deion, he would have gladly come to Nebraska or Auburn before Colorado in a heartbeat.
I will tell you this. As fun as it is to intertwine Deion, Prime, however the fuck you want to phrase him, into every conversation, I cannot wait until September 10th, which is
When the Colorado game's
which
over.
is the day after the Colorado game.
And we don't have to talk about him anymore.
And I never have to say Coach Prime's name again.
Because we don't play him after this year, do we?
I mean, we play him the following year.
Oh, we do
But it's
again?
at home. You know, who cares? The point is,
That might be a different game by then, depending on how he recruits.
I'm just ready to not talk about him anymore.
I agree. It's kind of fun to shit on Colorado, though.
Oh, I fucking
It's
love
always
it.
been fun.
And I cannot wait for to go out to the Colorado game. I don't give a fuck how much money I paid for the Colorado tickets. I cannot wait to go out to that game. It's going to be such a blast. And to watch that team go, the Colorado team that is, go 0-2 and go into the Colorado State game the following week, where the tickets are a bare minimum of $125, which is just fucking stupid. I don't care that it's a rivalry game. You're having a 0-2 Colorado team going to a Colorado State game, and your minimum ticket value is $125. You fucking suck, and you're desperate for fucking money. Good luck with all of that. So fuck off. It's going to be a blast.
I think it's going to be more fun to see what happens with Nebraska and Minnesota in game one. Personally, that's my personal thought.
More exciting? Absolutely. By the way, did you guys get tickets yet?
No, we haven't got tickets yet.
I bought me and Ryan are going up. We got our tickets already.
Well, we're doing a tailgate, so we already know we're getting tickets.
That's fine. I'm just saying.
Got like 45 people going up.
Okay.
It's going to be fucking great. We're going to do a show.
So me and Ryan's tickets are literally where you and Matt and Missy's tickets were the last time.
It's a good
Yeah.
seat.
It's like that first row
a
right
good
on that
seat.
corner.
You're like on the field.
That's where I
got 'em?
Yeah.
Nice.
Nice.
Were there still seats available there?
I'm sure. I don't know. I already got mine, so I don't give a fuck.
Well, I think the show we're going to do that day is going to be the tailgate show. It's going to be pretty much a tailgate show. We're going to let whoever wants to walk up and fucking say.
In other words,
gonna be a
say whatever the fuck
tailgate
they're going to be
show.
a shit show.
Yeah. I think that's going to probably be
Any more than all these shows
I
are.
think it's
Come on.
probably going to be like a Facebook Live
Okay.
event. I'm thinking
Honestly, fuck the microphones. Let's just do a Facebook Live show, just a video.
yeah, but we're still going to have microphones.
Okay, whatever.
Like we're gonna let people, whoever wants to,
Hey.
walk up, and if you want to give us a prediction for the game, if you want to talk about the season, whatever, we'll talk to you.
Here's a shocker.
We're gonna
for,
do that at the fucking tailgate. We're gonna have shit ton of smoked meat.
Here's a
We're gonna have
shocker
a shit
for
ton of fucking awesome
everybody
food.
that knows me. I don't know about technology. I would
Lot of booze.
I would just record a video, but I'm gonna be shit faced. So with the Colorado game, I got a buddy, Jamie, who texted me, and he's like, I got tickets for me and my son. They're going to the Colorado game. They paid like $1,200 for the 2 tickets. He bought the insurance and all those things. He's like, just let me know where you're tailgating. We'll meet up and we'll do a podcast together. I go, you really think that I could figure out how to do a podcast because I'm old as fuck and I don't do technology? And
BJ and Matt are not gonna be there.
Yeah.
I cannot do a podcast with
and
you.
he goes, well, I mean, we can figure it. I go,
We can do a remote podcast. You guys can call in.
no, I sure as fuck am not going to be, I couldn't do one sober, and I sure as hell am not going to be sober. And Jamie goes, well, I'm going to have my 16-year-old son with me. He could figure it out. I go,
Jesus.
you're probably right. So we might figure something
Hey,
out.
we'll we'll plan to do a show, and you guys just call us, and we'll put you on.
Let's do it.
You just
Sounds
have
good.
his son call us, and we'll put you
Yeah,
on.
yeah, exactly. Because I'll
Hey,
be
kid, what's going
hammered.
on?
Even if it's a 10 a.m. game, we don't know what time that game is yet.
We all know you start drinking at 4 a.m., Jed. Come on.
4?
Everybody's seen the videos.
Why are you thinking that I'm going to be so late at 4? You think I'm going to go to sleep?
Uh-huh.
All right, let's do this.
Guy.
And this may be the most unbelievable night in Cornhusker football history.